Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Blue Thunder Pod, AEW edition. I'm your host, Billy Sullivan. With me, as always, my mom's favorite podcast host. We should all be happy to sit under his learning tree, Lionheart Dave Alinovich.
The Alinovich Vortex.
Trademark, TM.
Trademark. The Ayatollah of Vortex Fola. Boo.
Well, you had a string. You had several good ones before hitting the wall there.
I mean, if we're going to riff on Chris Jericho, the theme of his career is straining. So, shoehorning. So, I'm pretty much on par with him.
Dave? Yeah. What were your thoughts about, we don't have to talk about Collision. We were talking just before the podcast started recording right now.
Yeah.
We were talking about why we don't really talk about Collision. Like, I enjoy Collision every week, but it's the same every week in that if we were to talk about Collision on a podcast, it would be, there was a really good 4-star match. Yeah. And then there was also a really good 4-star match. And that about 5 or 6 times, and that would be the end of it. And you guys don't want to hear that.
No.
In-ring stuff on Collision is all fantastic. Almost always is, which I enjoy the hell out of, but I wouldn't know where to start talking about it. So we focus mostly on Dynamite. Today we're going to talk about Dynamite and do our picks for the upcoming PPV. But Dave, what were your thoughts on Dynamite this week?
Dynamite was good. Book ended really nice. Built up the pay-per-view nice. The bane of my existence actually was tolerable and did actual cool shit this week.
I thought it was going to be my hot take.
Oh, you didn't like it?
No. I thought it was going to be my hot take that it was pretty good, actually.
There wasn't much on the show I didn't like, but there were some things on the show I really didn't like, and we will get to it in segment 2.
I'm trying to think of what you're. I mean, I have a couple nitpickies too. I thought it was a good show, not a like a. I don't even want to say like it sucks the way that people review stuff these days. If you say something was good, not great, everybody thinks mid. No, like this was like a 3.5, not a 4-star show. It was it was a very good show. I think this is exactly the kind of show that they need to do 30 or 40 in a row of to get the fan base back to where it was. They can't have any more of the last 2 weeks, what we got the last 2 weeks, because that like resets the good feelings.
Right.
You do a show like this, it makes you start feeling it again. But like instead of having that momentum that you have, it's now we got to do another 30 of these in a row before we can get to where we want to be.
Right.
Because I was thinking about this too. Like the fan base that they're trying to build back up is not. They're not trying to pull people away from the WWE because that's not where the people that they lost didn't go to WWE.
Right.
WWE just got a shitload more of non-wrestling or just very broad, casual type fans.
Right.
AEW, when they started doing the WWE adjacent but not as good stuff last year, the people they lost just did what I would do if I were to stop watching AEW is get my wrestling on Fight TV. I'd watch more New Japan. I would watch a bunch of other indie stuff more frequently.
1991.
Yeah.
Go back.
But that's where they went. That's where the fans that aren't showing up to these shows, they're just watching their indie promotions again. They're watching MLW and NJPW and, like not that that's an indie, but like other alternatives. You want to grab those fans back. What you need to do is have very consistent, makes sense kind of shows. It doesn't have to be a bunch of like surprises or shock things that happen. Just put on this show, basically, like this caliber show, 30 times in a row. And then that's how you build momentum in AEW.
Like some big beats can stay, a lot can go from the, not a lot. Like there's some things that can go from this show.
I have like stuff that I'd like to change or whatever, criticisms of the show.
For the most part, they did what they do well in this company, they did really well on this episode.
Yeah.
And then some things, not so much.
And that's like, again, good, not great, but
no, but to your point, they're like returning to form. Like it feels like some things are really like humming right now.
Yeah. And had they just not done the dumb 2 things they did in the dumb last 2 weeks.
Yeah, just don't
this would feel like they were in the middle of this big momentous thing. Instead of we had starting over a little bit.
Treat him like Voldemort, man. Just don't say his name, and you're going to be gold.
They talk about the first dumb thing on this show, which is one of my big gripes.
Yeah.
It's a very small thing. It kind of talk about it really quickly, but don't bring attention to your mistakes. And it's not the Punk thing; it's the other one. Yeah. But like again, it was a real tiny thing. So like this show in general, I was very happy with.
Yeah.
And you just got to be consistent. It's harder to win the hardcore fans like back, or to get them back after they bail out on you or tap out, because they're gonna watch wrestling, and there's good wrestling all over the indie wrestling. There's like all over the world.
WWE.
Yeah, but I'm talking about them particularly. But yeah, I mean, I just told you, guys, if you haven't already, the WWE edition of Blue Thunder Pod drops at the same time as this, so check it out when you're done listening to this one. But on that pod, I mentioned this was the first time Raw had a match that I watched twice.
Yeah,
I do that for AEW pretty consistently. And like a lot of times, honestly, I'm muscling through a lot of the WWE stuff. Very recently, it hasn't been that way. It's been entertaining most weeks, so I don't feel like I'm muscling through.
Right.
But like the main event of this Raw, I gave the AEW treatment. I did a full rewatch just for my own enjoyment.
Right.
So yeah, you're right. It's
further showing that there's options.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was to your point that I was saying, like, for the first time, there was actually 2 matches on Raw this week that I was like, oh, those are good regardless of promotion.
Absolutely.
So yeah, the way that you win those fans back, the hardcores, is consistency.
Yeah.
It don't need to make a ton of big splashes. You just need to do this every week.
Yeah.
Different ways, which is difficult. So like,
you have the roster. Thank the Lord he put his checkbook away for a while, and he's not, and like, because the latest thing he signed is my major gripe with this show.
It was her best week, and that's saying something.
This was, I can't wait to get to it.
It wasn't good.
No, it was good. Shouldn't even be in the sentence of not good.
There's like an undercurrent that makes me positive about an aspect of it, but that's all really. Which is why I say it's her best week.
But yeah, where they're doing things well, keep doing things well. Don't muddy the water. Don't bring in a bunch of guys from the guys you have in from New Japan that we're all like getting used to. Leave him here for a second.
Yeah,
like we're all getting used to Shibata. He's got a gimmick now.
He's awesome.
He's awesome, and we know who he is.
And he's the tough guy to get people to like American audiences to come around. And I feel like people are doing that.
He's got a gimmick, and like we're familiar with him. Just don't muddy the waters with what you consider dream matches, because. And I was thinking about this. A dream match isn't just I'm really good, you're really good. Let's have a match. A dream match, historically, they're remembered because of the story.
It's better when there's a build, when there's a good build.
Like one of the best spots in WrestleMania history is when sweet chin music into a pedigree almost finished for the Undertaker streak.
Yeah.
That required 20 years of storytelling.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
I do think that there are dream matches that exist that are awesome on their own, but they should be few and far between. Kenny Omega versus Bryan Danielson was amazing. Right. That was a straight up just like fantasy booked dream match.
Right.
But do one of those a year. Like the rest of them,
the whole promotion's built on
do a little bit of.
It's Tony playing with his action figures.
I don't think this year has been. I think this whole calendar year so far has been every big match has been built to, and the roster is so stacked that you can do like mini dream matches in quotes as like your weekly TV.
Right.
But the ones that are really dream matches, Ospreay Danielson, give me some promos, give me something building to it.
To their credit,
they've been doing this year,
and they're doing them well.
Yeah.
They're doing them well.
Just stop worrying about anybody else outside of your own company, and fire Billy Gunn, and and just do 30 of these in a row, and you'll be able to put 10,000 seats in butts and seats again.
Hope so. Did you see
that's how you do it.
Did you see they broke a record? Collision broke a record, and where it ran on Saturday. It was like the most people to ever be at a live pro wrestling event in the suburb of Kentucky where they ran. It was like 2,500 people.
Why is he booking a suburb of Kentucky?
That's another thing, dude. Like perception.
Lexington doesn't have enough people to book a big wrestling TV wrestling show.
Dude, we've played in Kentucky. It's hard in a lot of markets.
Yeah.
But like WWE played, they ran Detroit. Granted, it's night and day promotion, but like again, perception is reality. And this is a consistent gripe we have is he's booking the wrong fucking houses. WWE ran where the Red Wings play in Detroit, Michigan, and then they ran in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Like those are names of cities you learn like very young. And then Tony's booking just What? What are you doing?
Yeah, no, like, yeah.
Perception's reality. Like, yeah, you don't want to.
Well, I mean, did you see the Nyla Rose stuff that happened today or yesterday and today?
No.
So the state of Oklahoma sent AEW a letter threatening to come down on them with the full force of the law if they ever have Nyla Rose competing as a woman on TV again. So she got people were rushing to her aid. It turned out being like kind of a positive story because so many people support her. And then she was like, I'm happy, just happy tears, guys. This is the most amazing thing ever. But then everybody's like, fuck Oklahoma. And I'm thinking, why did you book Oklahoma?
Yeah.
There's not enough people in Oklahoma to do TV wrestling. But yeah, again, to your point, like don't even obviously don't go back to Oklahoma now, but like don't book them. They're not. I get wanting to book the South because you're trying to grab some of those like old WCW heads that are not interested in like the sports entertainment and stuff.
Go to Georgia. Go to like
there's a bunch of big places in the South you could do.
Atlanta,
Birmingham is great.
Yes,
you could. They've showed everywhere in Texas. They can book anywhere in Texas. Yes, and the crowd will be hot as hell. But yeah, no Oklahoma, no suburbs of whatever Lexington or where. I can't even think of another real kind of big city in Kentucky.
If you want to piggyback off of the guys that are running house shows still, just go where they were 6 months later.
Where were they for? Yeah, I agree. But where were they for Dynamite? I didn't even. It was a hot crowd. I didn't
write it down.
It was a much better crowd this week than the last 2 weeks. But again, the show this week had a lot more positive momentum, so it was easier for them to be hot. But like I was very happy with the crowd reactions and stuff.
Indiana Farmers Coliseum in Indianapolis.
Okay,
right.
Sandy.
Because Moxley opened the show by saying he won his first title like right down the street.
Right down the street. Which, by the way, I missed the bow, bow. I mean, I'm glad he took a break, which made me miss him. Yeah. But just opening the show with Wild Thing, it makes you feel big. It's because he's a star. You feel like opening, if you're going to open with not a banger match, do it with a banger promo. Yeah. And the Moxley promo is like...
Also... Distance makes the heart grow fonder. He has not been on TV since Revolution, March 3rd.
And he was away doing a thing that makes him way more interesting, too.
Which they promoted on Collision. Yeah. Windy City Riot was in Chicago. John Moxley won the New Japan World Championship.
The IWGP World Heavyweight title, which is the New Japan title and the biggest world title in Japan.
Yeah.
I think he's the first Gaijin to do it.
I'm sorry, what?
Gaijin is what the Japanese public call foreigners, basically. Oh, I know it from wrestling and from baseball. If you're like a American, Canadian, wrestles in Japan, Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega. They're the two other Gaijins besides Stan Hansen that I can think of that have held this title.
And Ninja Gaiden.
Gaijin is the white, mostly white guy, but just foreigner. Yeah. I think it's for any foreign person that outside of Japan, but I've only ever heard it referred to like specifically white guys and black guys. Right. I don't know if it's like a race thing. I don't think it is. I think it just means foreigner basically. But the only Gaijins that I know that have held this is a big deal for them. Right. Stan Hansen, who's just a legend in Japan, and then Omega and Ospreay, which we are well familiar with what those guys did, in Japan. So this is for Moxley was a big deal. He got a "You deserve it" chant here, and for the first time, I think he looked a little bit emotional about like holding the title and getting a "You deserve it" for the IWGP because he really is into this.
But he also looked healthy. He looked happy. Yes. He looked great. This promo was fucking awesome.
John Moxley is an incredible promo. Yes. And there was a little bit of the rah-rah, I love AEW, this is what we're all about. But it's like I said, on the other podcast, I'll accept one company man that does the rah-rah speech. And Moxley's the guy in this company that I accepted from.
You're not going to get
it from day one. And
you have a heel world champ in your company. And if you're going to integrate with another company, it's the other world champ, right? So it's the correct guy for it.
It doesn't, like, Edge meant real good, meant real well when he tried to cut his rah-rah promo. They cut his legs out from under him because they did the Punk thing right after that. Yeah. But it just didn't land as well as like and Moxley doesn't harp on it a bunch. He just says like that's what AEW we're here to put on the best wrestling.
Yeah. Also too, Edge is embroiled in a feud right now. Yes. And like you can't and he stepped out of character to be like, hey, just remember things are great here and we're all happy. Like Moxley has come from no story currently.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, I'm glad to be back.
The story is
here.
overseas.
This place fucking rules.
Yeah.
And then he jumps right into like an ongoing storyline, which I'm like, this is just good storytelling. I couldn't believe it.
Straight babyface.
Yes.
Break up the BCC. They need to go away. Every one of those guys is a million times better on their own than they are together.
Do you notice why they're so good lately? Because there's no Wheeler Yuta because he sucks.
I just don't think they're good as a faction.
Yeah, I
love every one of them.
I don't love him.
I don't really love Wheeler, but I like Wheeler. I think he's fine. I understand the disdain for him.
Yeah.
I can see where it comes from, but I think I like him. I liked when he was feuding with Daniel Garcia and like that stuff.
He should have been in there instead.
But like, I just because they have to be tweeners when they're all together.
Yeah.
And it's just everything is better when you're just a babyface or a heel. Moxley did babyface work throughout the show.
Yes.
Do one or the other, and you're more fun and more interesting. But then they had Claudio working a heel match. It was an incredible match, but a heel match at the end of the show. So like
that match in its own right, like what they're doing storyline wise is really kind of high level.
Yeah.
So how they pulled all that off. Like the storyline they have going with the Don Callis family and the BCC is very, very clever.
Yeah. Mox calls Callis a creep here, which I was very amused by.
So before we get to Don Callis, he said, Moxley says after a raucous applause, he's been chasing the IWPG title for 5 years, and he got it.
Which he did go over to Japan before even signing.
Yes, he had the little
AEW.
bike shorts on.
Yep.
There was another, as you just said, another rally cry promo that ends, and that's what AEW is all about. But like as you said, this is the guy to do it.
Yeah, and just briefly,
right? And everybody loved
that's
it. And he was in, he was out, and he goes right to the Don.
Did you notice he was cutting the promo not to the hard cam?
Oh,
he didn't cut the promo for 1 second to the hard cam.
Does he ever?
It was usually
Does he
turned that way at least. I mean, he's one of the play to the audience. I mean, AEW in general is like more audience work than just being that reliant or but that like stuck on down the pipe on the hard cam.
Right.
But he didn't even like acknowledge the hard cam. He was like turned essentially the opposite side of the ramp to the crowd, that side the whole time, and he knew that was happening too because for the first like couple of minutes I'm just really interested in why this happened, if he was pissed off about something or if it's like he wants to push the show in a certain direction, a more live show kind of feeling thing, because at first I'm like, did he just forget where the hard cam was, like being off of TV? But then like handheld guy came and snuck around that side of the ring to shoot him, and then he started cutting it down that camera. So he knew what he was doing.
Right.
Like it was intentional. It was just it was a little bit jarring at first, and then I was like super interested in what he was doing.
Right. Is it because he's been working at CMLL and New Japan, and is it different?
New Japan does all their promo stuff backstage.
Okay, so maybe CML. Like I don't know, mate. I'm trying to help him out here.
Their promo stuff, but I thought it was cool. Like I don't think it was a negative. Yeah. It was just I'm so used to it being. There's no reason it can't be done that way. Like you can't vary how you cut your promo.
Right.
I mean, you're simulating that you're talking just to the live crowd anyway. It felt pretty real actually, and it was cool, especially when the TV people caught on to what he was doing and got a camera down under the ropes on the other side of the ring.
Right.
But it definitely felt like a different thing. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. But it didn't feel like a different thing that they had discussed prior to him doing it, because it took him a couple of minutes to. So
they had. I was looking up how many seats were sold.
I mean, the crowd was fine.
No, but what I'm getting at is maybe he didn't want to look at the hard camera because if there's a lighter crowd, they don't have anyone on the hard side.
They've been doing that since their inception. That's what all wrestling companies do. Right. When there's not a huge crowd, you if you're going to take people out of seats, you just empty that side.
I'm just trying to figure out why he wouldn't want to face that way. Maybe he just didn't want to look at no one in the crowd.
Yeah, like I thought that too, but then I'm like, but down. Moxley's been a wrestler for ups and downs for multiple companies I'm just
trying to help him
out. A zillion years.
I
don't think he needs the help, because like I said, I think it was cool. I think it wound up being a thing that I liked, and I'm also now interested in like why are you doing that? That might be like I'm laying hints down, like they do that. It's the shit I love the most. Maybe in a month, I'm going to be like, So that's why you weren't like, I have no idea what it is right now, but like it was something I noticed. Usually they don't put stuff on their TV show when they're going good. That I notice that's not eventually for some reason.
Right.
Like,
I don't know.
So I was just curious if you noticed it, because it was like, oh, that's weird. That's a different thing.
No, maybe he, I don't know. It was, I mean, there were like 3,500 people there. So maybe it's tough to, I don't know. We'll see. We can guess for days, but we're probably going to know in a month.
By the way, all 3,500 people, super hot for Jon Moxley.
Yeah.
Even when he's like boring to me or kind of played out or doing the tweener shit that I hate, the live crowds always fucking love this dude.
They like singing he has a song. Anyone that has a song they like.
I agree with that, but he also gets like the after the song
because he's a star.
Moxley chants because he's a big star. Yeah.
Even though he was shit in the ring for a while, but he's tan and healthy again. All that time in CML, he got a nice tan.
I'm glad that he gave up the ghost on the hair too, and finally went.
I said he looks
short,
healthy. He
short
good.
buzz.
Yeah.
It's a good. I saw it happen when he went to Japan, and I was like, "Good call, John. It's been a couple of years in the making. You should have just done that a couple of years back."
So he aims his eyeballs at the Don Callis family. He calls Don Callis a creep. He said he's feeding his talented group lies. And this is where I was saying the storytelling is really good here. He said they put a hit out and tried to injure Danielson, which on Collision, Don Callis said, so it was on Collision, it was Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli versus Powerhouse Hobbs and Kyle Fletcher. And prior to the match, Don Callis said, I don't care if we win. I want to injure Bryan Danielson. And they ended up doing a pretty good job because they won, or they being the Claudio and Danielson won. Claudio did the neutralizer on Kyle Fletcher. Then Takeshita runs in, it's 3-on-2, and then they just beat the shit out of Bryan Danielson. So
I like that they're keeping Ospreay at a guys, I don't want, what are you doing?
Well, that comes into play later.
Yeah.
Ospreay wasn't out there. It was just those three. So
that's right. That's the Collision. Yeah.
So he, so Moxley says back on Dynamite, if you're going to put a target on Danielson's back, then you might as well put one on mine. So do you guys want to get violent? You want to be tough guys? You're welcome to find me. He said, Moxley says he could run up on them. He could run up on the Don Callis family with a tire iron in the parking lot and blast them in the back of the head, run them over with a car in the parking lot, but they won't learn anything. Instead, he challenges the biggest, baddest, meanest one of all y'all, Powerhouse Hobbs, challenges them to the main event of Dynamite next week. He said will accept, and will find out how out of depth he is. He says, I won't make it quick. I won't make it easy. There were times where he got a little poetic and
that's his thing.
He lost the promo a little bit, but overall,
I like all that bullshit. I like all his. When I'm not tired of him, I love all his Jon Moxley nonsense. I love his wiggle walk. I love his poetry. I love his kind of cheesy, cringy, edgy blood talk stuff that he always does. I think it all works.
Well, I loved his promo, so I'm right there with you. And he, was it on this show where they did the backstage with Danielson? They had a really good line. It might have been on Collision.
It wasn't on this.
It was on Collision. So they're backstage after Don Callis said they don't care about winning. They just want to injure Bryan Danielson. They go backstage with, I can't find the exact notes about where he. It was right at the top of Collision because they said Claudio and Danielson said it's easier to beat them than hurt them. So good luck in hurting them. So when they actually put a hurting on Danielson, it was like, okay, mission accomplished. So what we got out of all this is Moxley's back. No match on the pay-per-view.
Have you seen the word on what his schedule upcoming is?
Well, still no match on the pay-per-view.
Going to be mostly NJPW. It's cool. It's good. I love him. It wasn't long enough time for him to take his hiatus from pay-per-views and stuff. Yeah. So he's going to continue to do that and work. He doesn't want to be IWGP champ and not do it the way that it deserves.
Right.
So he's going to defend it and shit overseas. He's going to spend a lot of time over the next few months, or however long he's the champ, overseas. So we're probably not going to get him on pay-per-view for a while, which fine. He was on every pay-per-view from 2019 to 2 pay-per-views ago.
I'm a little over all these different belts on all these companies. It's just too hard to care.
This one, for me and the other nerds, this one matters quite a bit.
Sure, but it doesn't add to your, because now you have 2 world titles on the show. One is
it's
over
not going to
there.
be on the show. This was it.
It was
this
on
was,
the show.
This was the I'm back. I'm the champ.
Yeah.
Go AEW.
And he wrestles next
and
week.
I'm fucking back.
No, he's wrestling next week.
Yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is he's scheduled as a full timer in NJPW.
I just don't like diluting one show with 3 different brands on one show. That's it.
If they like are constantly using the NJPW belts like going forward,
yeah.
I think that would be a mistake. I agree. I love that he is the IWGP champion. That gives him a mystique that very few people have.
I would say keep him off of AEW until he drops that title. Then just don't bring the belts on.
Going forward,
get rid of Ring of Honor. Get rid of New Japan titles. Just stop it.
I don't think they're the same thing. I agree with you. Get rid of Ring of Honor. Sell it. I don't think it should
gold
exist.
on the
but New Japan, that's fine. That's part of.
But is he going to defend it on the show?
That's part of the. No, he should absolutely never do that.
But that's
part of the charm that people that have been waiting for an alternative to the WWE.
I know, the Forbidden Door.
Not just the Forbidden Door, but like WCW back in the day, up until like the early 90s. There would be guys coming from other promotions. They would cross promote. You would still get that.
I don't mind if they're from other companies, but
carrying the belts.
Stop it with the belts.
Like carrying the belts of the other companies.
Yeah, I don't like it.
That's what existed then, but that's what they're going for, and that's why people like me kind of think it's cool to see like the belts from the other companies not defend. I don't want it defended on. I agree with you. Do not defend those titles on AEW TV, but carrying them, acknowledging them when guys that are holding titles from other companies, because that's what they used to do in WCW, and
because they used to do it doesn't mean it's good.
But that is what they're aiming for. Is that feeling, and it makes me feel that way.
But like when Mickie James comes into the Royal Rumble as the TNA Knockouts champion, no one gave a shit.
Because they're not trying to go for that in WWE, so it feels disjointed. It doesn't feel right.
It feels
AEW is very much trying to emulate a lot of the feelings that the territory days. And then WCW, like that era, 80s WCW.
Well, then you have to hierarchically say like, okay, we have a New Japan World Champ, we have an AEW World Champ. Which one do I care about more? I think they dilute each other.
I don't think that.
I think they do.
I think that the multiple titles defended on the same show and having 2 companies under the same umbrella absolutely does that. I do not think that about other companies' belts that are, as long as they're not defended on the air.
We're adding a third one now, and then they have CMLL titles on the show,
which are also not defended on AEW TV.
But they're on the. But like, okay. So if
it's
an
international type of wrestling audience they're going for. Here.
Sure. Well, I'm a domestic one, and this is why I don't like it.
And I'm telling you, like the crowd the crowd that they're trying to bring back into these stadiums that are still booked too large.
I still don't like it. It's not going to dissuade me from liking it.
I know. But I have convinced you and me on a few things.
Yeah.
But like this one, it's just that they're not going for you.
It's just more belts.
Particularly here.
Is not, because when you have a guy, okay, let's say...
really, my only argument is I want to differentiate. I think it is very different to show a belt that is not defended on TV on that program. That and having a whole nother company that you call a whole other company that you defend those belts sometimes on your own program. I think they're very different things, and one should go away and the other one is cool.
Doesn't Kyle Fletcher have something right now? Isn't he some kind of Ring of Honor champion? It's fucking wild. I think
he lost recently. I don't watch Ring of Honor, but I think he recently lost the title he had.
When he fought Ospreay,
TV champ.
He had the belt when he fought Ospreay, I believe. So he comes out with the belt. It added no cachet.
Because it's a product nobody cares about. People do care about New Japan. Like, at least the people that they're aiming for and trying to pull back into these like AEW shows. They're the kind of people that do care about New Japan. So
just by simply holding a belt, that adds cachet?
That belt's a big deal.
Any belt from New Japan?
That belt is a very big... No, that one particularly...
Just the world title.
I think like other New Japan titles carry weight, but that one in particular... means a ton to a lot of people because it's the Okada, it's the Kenny Omega. Like It's that belt.
It does look like shit. The one that Omega held was beautiful.
A million times better. The worst change that any wrestling company has ever made belt wise was that title.
It's like
which looked like the current AEW heavyweight title.
It looked amazing.
To this looks like the old Divas title.
The butterfly belt, right?
But still, the name. It's still that championship, which carries a ton of weight.
I'll give it a shot.
I know you're not following this, and it doesn't really have any weight on what we're talking about here. They're doing a very cool thing in New Japan too. Shota Umino is like the biggest young uprising star, the guy that everybody's kind of pegged to be Okada since Okada left. But he's very young. He was a young lion not too long ago. As a matter of fact, he was Jon Moxley's young lion. Mm-hmm. So this is going to lead to like Wrestle Kingdom, Shota versus Moxley, which we've seen Shota on AEW TV before. They had a 5-star multi-man a couple of pay-per-views ago. But that's going to be amazing. So I love that story exists. I love that Moxley's got that thing going on over there because it's pretty crowded right now in AEW.
They had a 5-star match.
I'm almost positive.
No, I believe you, but that's just kind of.
It's Meltzer and it's
that's
New
also
Japan style.
Just kind of proving my point. And that's why I said I like Shibata now because he's on TV consistently enough. He has a character. I know who he is.
I'm with you there.
Yeah,
like
more.
I'm not going to defend the multi-man that didn't matter. It was just a good match. But I still, even back then, I would have been like, well, do some story. But and they did a little bit. It was the one with Ishii and but not enough for me to really remember. So they didn't do any story.
I know who he's been on and that's why if you sprinkle these guys in, and you can do something with the world title, but if he's not going to defend it, I don't think I've seen that yet in a company where a title comes over and it's not like a focal point of some kind of feud or at least it's impactful in some way. But if he's just going to be hey, I'm this guy, I'm going to dip in every once in a while. Then I'm now I'm curious. I'm what's he doing over there? That's now that I'm talking
cross promoting too.
But they've shit the bed on that 100% of the time. That's why
I'm to your point too. The Ring of Honor stuff poisons the well on it because that is garbage.
But if they do,
so it makes you think.
If they do
is that
like
this?
Yeah. And the Continental Classic, I'm not sure was a massive success.
Oh, I love that. I want
the matches are good, but just I don't even know what belts are involved anymore. But if they do that with Moxley, now my eyeball is going to be kind of curious because he's not. It's not a part of AEW programming.
And maybe you get interested in the Shota Umino story,
so it's which is
different. The idea of the cross promotional stuff is supposed to help both companies.
Yeah.
AEW hasn't done a whole lot of help in New Japan. They've stole their main eventers and not given a ton back.
Yeah.
So it really is a good faith move to give them one of your biggest stars to be their champ, who also happens to be the guy that was the quote unquote trainer of your young lion that's going to be the next big thing.
Well, and if what you're saying,
so you got a story there too.
Well, there you go then. Yeah, so that's unprecedented.
Yeah,
storytelling wise. So, so good.
And there are it's not for you necessarily.
Well, but it might be. That's the thing,
Dave. I think all this stuff is for you if you gave it a shot.
I gotta watch more fucking wrestling.
But that is really it's the answer. It's like watching. It's like I have to work to know all this stuff because you got to find things and everything. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But it does lead to some cool ass stuff like the Shota Moxley.
It's just like watching Star Wars and then reading all the novels.
Pretty much. You get a different depth of understanding, and so it makes you feel different stuff for.
Well, the guy that made the lightsabers was actually accredited under the Starfleet Commander X.
100%. And that is what I. Always worry about that I sound like when I start talking about, but I know what I am.
Your voice is way deeper.
I gotta put some bass in my.
Put some bass in my voice. Lightsabers were invented in
Tiger Driver 91.
I was going to say 1944. Lightsabers, big year. This was dog shit.
We got another dog shit promo for Mercedes Moné.
I wrote it down.
Not great.
I wrote it down word for word.
Not great. I said still her best promo in the company so far. Not great though. I do. You don't need to do it word for word because it was a crappy Mercedes promo. There was a writing decision in it that I liked though. She insinuated that Julia Hart was the one that turned the lights off when she got attacked last week, and what that does is it makes her not look like an idiot because it's going to be Statlander. When it is Statlander. And it was obvious to a number of people that it's not to everybody, but a lot of people that it's very, very, very likely going to be Statlander for her first match. peppering it in right now, saying that like logically, Julia Hart, because Julia Hart always comes out to the lights being off, at least puts in people's minds, okay, there's a logical reason why she would believe that it's Julia Hart. And that's the story that they're going towards. So like they can tell that story without her seeming like a numbskull for thinking that it's a person that I think most people don't believe that it actually is.
Wait, her first match is Statlander?
I'm almost positive.
It's not going to be... No, it's Willow, because she challenged the winner of that match.
Statlander's going to be the person that turned the lights off and attacked her.
I think Mercedes Moné turned the lights off on herself.
That is a hot take.
Yeah, it's a hot take. I think she's got to heal up, because I think if she's not going to get any sympathy as a babyface, because we're all bored to fucking tears from her, she's not likable.
I will be shocked if her Double or Nothing match is not Statlander. One, because it's something that I suggested, because I thought it would be the best opponent for her way early on.
Well, also, too, Statlander is your... Hey, let's make everybody look amazing.
Exactly. You can't have a bad match with her.
Yeah.
So that's who you put.
Right.
Like Darby Allin, CM Punk. That's who you put in them. And the story, because the story actually has depth, because they had that faction is great and has depth.
Yeah.
That they're hinting at, the read between the lines and stuff, is that it's Willow is a red herring. Julia Hart is a red herring. It's gonna end up being Statlander, which like from just a logic standpoint, when you're like who you going to put Mercedes in after she's been out with injury for super long, we want to make her look great.
Right.
Statlander's the one. So how do we get there? And okay, weave it into the Willow story, because she has history with Willow. Willow was the match that she got hurt in,
right?
And Willow's in a faction with Chris Statlander,
right?
I'm almost positive it's Chris. It's going to be Chris Statlander.
So since this is coming up next, Willow, Edge. I'm sorry, Adam. I'm circling back, but this context.
I mean, like, yeah. Well, you can just to close it off.
Again, we're not closing anything off.
Oh, okay,
I'm coming right back to it. But like, the only reason I'm bringing this up is Adam Copeland and Willow, Nightingale versus Brody King and Julia Hart. Willow's music hits, but the screen shows she was attacked backstage. So who attacked her? Chris Statlander?
I don't know.
Well, it's the same person that turned the lights off out on Mercedes.
Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. I was just asking.
I'm okay with not knowing. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's Mercedes.
I think like the
I like the idea of this Mercedes.
I do. Well, sure, I do too, because it's something like for her. And I like but I do like Mercedes and Stat. I think that's the plan, and I hope they stick to that, because that is the best person. Yeah. I mean, I think Statlander is the best female wrestler in the company. So
yeah. Also, too, she has to come out looking good after sitting for how many? 2 months at this point?
Stat is incredible at making people look incredible.
Yeah, she's got to have a good match. She can't not have a good match when she...
Exactly.
Everyone's like, oh, put her in the ring, she'll be great, and not have a good one. You know?
Which is another reason why you don't do all these promos and backstages, because then it builds up this expectation of, okay, well, we just got to see her in the ring. We just got to see her in the ring. If you just put her in the ring right away and she was a little rusty the first day, people would be like, oh, she's a little rusty. She's been out. Now it's like, well... we need to see her in the ring because that's what she does well, which is the truth. Yeah. But it also has built up several weeks of like
when you draw parallels
extra pressure.
Parallels to Fandango, we got big problems.
Fandango was a very good wrestler who's misutilized.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir, but he didn't wrestle because they couldn't say his name right. But he just wasn't. He was cutting promos constantly. Yeah. Actually, now I think of it, Fandango was way better than anything we're doing right now.
They got way over Fandango and
Chris Jericho.
Tyler Breeze.
Oh, way before Tyler Breeze.
They were like awesome together.
But I'm just Fashion Police.
Generally promo wise, she's dog shit on doing promos, but she's always been dog shit doing promos.
This is bad.
Sasha Banks was dog shit doing promos too. Yeah. I think it's a very smart idea to put her in there with Statlander.
No, you're 100% right.
And I do, but like I said, I do like them peppering in, at least mentioning why I think it's Julia Hart, because I don't think it's going to turn out to be her.
Julia Hart, no.
But there's a reason why the character would think that, so you throw that in the promo.
Right.
Everything else you can toss out as far as I'm concerned.
You're probably right that it's going to be Statlander. Her brass knucks say Monet talks, and I go, yes, that's literally all she fucking does is talk. Mostly silence from the crowd during this pay-per-view.
Not very well.
They kept the crowd.
She's still hot though. Like I think it's been dog shit booking for her, like the whole way. Which I don't even know if I can blame the company because she brought her own writer in.
Sure, you can.
She brought her own writer in though. Like,
well,
I don't know if that was part of the deal.
Her writer should get
everybody
fired.
said that was part of the deal. Was
Yeah.
you have to have she has to have her own personal writer who's doing a bad job.
Bad job.
But the crowd when she came out, went crazy and did an unprompted by music CEO chant for her. I don't know how she still has. Like, I'm the biggest Sasha Banks fan you can be.
Yeah.
If I was at a live show right now, I would be like cold as fuck for Mercedes because they've done nothing to make me interested.
No.
Outside of like now hints that, okay, maybe they're going to put her in a match with the person that I think is the best person to put her in a match with.
That's best case scenario. That's the absolute best case scenario.
Yeah. And that's not much to like lean on. So I wouldn't be cheering for her. But she's still my point is she's still like Moxley, even when things are not, I don't see why people are going nuts. They still pop for her and they still chant.
Well, because she's a star. Well, they chant for her because it's an insufferable chant.
It was not song driven this week, though. It was just out of nowhere. I'm fine with
people started singing Seth Rollins' song. He wasn't even in the building.
The chant
on Raw.
You do. That's what you do. You do a 3-syllable.
Well, that's the same thing.
Do a 3-syllable chant. Like,
it's the same thing.
But generally, the performer themselves doesn't get to that. Like if Seth came out and his music wasn't playing, people wouldn't be singing a song.
They did it on Monday. They said Seth Rollins. The whole stadium started singing.
The way that like WWE has gotten to, they do the Cody song and the Seth song and stuff. But generally in wrestling, like that is a thing. The song, not the performer's over. Also, generally, like every instance up until this last like 6 months, if you didn't play the song, I mean, Jericho's doing it right now. They're not singing because they stopped playing the song.
What part of Judas are you going to sing from the crowd?
That's my point. But
CEO is mind-numbingly stupid.
It's a chant. It's not a song.
It's fucking stupid.
It's fine. It's the same chant as every other chant. It's CM Punk. They're just doing. Everybody does that because it's 3 syllables.
Can you imagine if in Cult of Personality we'd hear CM Punk? Like just embedded in the audio.
It's embedded in the crowd. The crowd chants it nonstop.
No, but my point. No. What I'm saying is, if it was,
I'm not defending putting it in the song, but I'm fine with the chant.
Song fucking sucks.
I like the song besides the chant.
But I can't even hear the song because the CEO shit's so loud and abundant. I hate everything about her. I know. All right, here's the deal. I know you love her, and I think she's been a trash hire since she's been here. She's added no value.
I agree with
everything.
I don't think. I'm not going to talk about the hire.
Everything adjacent to what she's doing is fucking awesome. It's the word. No, adjacent to next to it. So everything with Willow and Statlander, it's fucking, and Julia Hart even, it's fucking great. It's really good pro wrestling. Everyone's organically getting over, and you got this toad.
They're all amazing.
That is just like here. And then, like, she runs out when she feels like it. She adds zero value to this show.
If me
zero
arguing that, just doing a 3-syllable chant is giving you the indication that I am trying to defend anything that they've done really with her presentation.
I just know you like her a lot.
Performance. I like her in the ring.
Yeah.
That's what I've always liked about her. She has ring charisma. She's great, like, moves, but she's also great at the, like, projecting superstardom in the ring.
Yeah,
I've never liked any of the other stuff, and I think it's a nightmare how she's been used.
Right.
And I think it's because of her. I think because she brought her own writer in, so I think it's her own fault.
Right.
So like I'm not defending her anyway. I was just saying that the chant, the CEO chant, I'm fine with as long as it's not in the song because that's just something you do in wrestling. You like find a catchphrase or an easily chantable 3-syllable thing,
right?
And you get people to do it because it's just what we do.
But we've never had it in a song necessarily. That's why
I don't know about that, but like they've definitely done it pretty ham-fisted a bunch of times.
Like I have to mute. No bullshit. I mute when she comes out because I hate that fucking song so much.
I want to fast forward her every one of her segments because they make me feel bad, especially on a show like this, which is a good show. Like I just don't. I don't want to feel negative feelings, and every time I see her, I'm like negative feelings. That's why I'm like clutching to at least they're doing a story thing that is leading in a direction that seems like it makes sense.
Well, the bar is so low that them doing anything feels like, well, they're doing something.
She's the worst thing on every show that she's on. Yeah. That shouldn't be the case.
I also have some hangover with her from WWE where she's like, I'm the boss. And
I know you've never liked that gimmick.
But I don't get, like, it was never explained. That's why. And now she's the CEO. What is she managing?
So, like, when NXT Sasha Banks, you didn't understand, like, what they were going for?
WWE Sasha Banks, what were they going for? Bigger audience. I knew every other character from NXT. I knew what Bayley.
I mean,
was
just
about.
like calling yourself she was the top heel in the company for a while in NXT, as like I'm flashy. That's why you're the boss, because I'm the best. It's essentially the same as saying I'm the best.
Okay.
It's like what MJF says. It's just using like hip hop lingo to say that same thing.
So what is the CEO then? Since what does that mean?
It's a derivative of the boss, because they couldn't get the boss because they carried it over. I don't love that either. I don't love her calling herself the CEO. I understand why, and it doesn't bother me as much. But like all the other stuff, I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie about like I like the song outside of the chant, because it's the truth. I like the song outside of the chant. I don't mind the chant as long as it's not part of the song.
Yeah.
Because that's the truth. Everything else, trash, and it makes me mad every time she's on TV.
She's upsetting.
Because the rest of the show is super fun, and I want that to be over to get to the other stuff.
This feels very WWE Invader-ish, which I think
it does. It really feels like a WWE writer came over to AEW and is writing all the stuff for just one person.
Did she write for WWE as well?
She was the, I want to say, lead writer for a while, secondary writer for like forever.
Well,
she quit WWE to go join her friend when Mercedes.
This all tracks then.
Yeah, it's her old writer. She wanted her own personal writer.
It feels
they're writing these weird WWE promos in the middle of it. Dynamite, and it's jarring.
It's super inauthentic, and like I said, all it does, and you just kind of said it too. It just steps on what everything correctly done is happening in the company, and you're like, and I think that's what's really bugging me about it. She's getting a lot of screen time to accomplish nothing. Everyone rolls their eyes.
Well, she's accomplishing something. It's not what they want. They're accomplishing turning people like you and me off of Mercedes Moné.
If the goal is to get X-Pac go away heat, mission accomplished, give her a writer a raise.
No, it's not anything. They're not accomplishing anything positive.
No, no. But in their world, they're probably like, no, we meant this. This is a long.
It feels long play. So disjointed. I think it's her. That what's her name?
I mean, it would make.
She's got a really interesting name. The writer they brought over, like her last name is another word. I forget what it is. Jennifer something. But I'm almost positive that's what's going on here.
Yeah,
they brought.
Well, I mean, it would make sense if she had go away heat. If they're going for that, and they have that insufferable chant.
I don't even feel go away heat for her, because it's not even like I'm irritated by you, X-Pac. It's like I'm irritated by your presence. Yeah. Like not you personally, but like, oh, I know this is going to be a segment that I don't want to watch because it's a weird disjointed thing in the middle of a show that's otherwise nothing like this thing.
Which blows, because it comes off like a super hot Mox promo to open the show.
Yeah.
It tees up something.
Imagine how terrible it would have been if it would not have come off the super hot Mox promo.
Oh, it's going to open the show. On the bus.
Yeah, that would be like, I would be depressed for the rest of the show if that had happened. Sorry, I'm trying to look up her writer's name. It's driving me crazy.
Well, since we were just talking about it, I will go on to the match that I mentioned, Adam Copeland and Willow Nightingale versus Brody King and Julia Hart. Adam Copeland comes out first. What do you got?
Jennifer Pepperman.
Jennifer Pepperman.
So that's why I was interested, because it sounds like peppermint.
It doesn't matter what comes, fresh goes better with
And if
life.
there's any doubt, what I Googled there was Mercedes Moné personal writer.
Yeah.
And the first result is Jennifer Pepperman. So
she's the new vice president of content development.
Yeah, they gave her a bullshit title.
Keep her away from everyone. You got to pad that LinkedIn somehow, right?
Yeah. They can she can develop the rest of Dynamite right down the goddamn shitter. Like,
develop her keys in her hand and get in her car and leave.
Yeah, that'd be the best for everybody, including Mercedes.
So Willow's music hits. Adam Copeland's already in the ring, and it shows that she's been attacked.
Cope did get his entrance. This is not Andrade in WWE.
No, dude. I tell you what. I'm really digging Adam Copeland lately.
I'm confused by how awesome he is.
Really?
Because like
really
I wasn't a big fan of Edge in the 90s, dude. Like,
this is my favorite era of Edge.
I love this Edge.
This is really and this is all post TNT title win.
Yeah.
Like, it's only recent within the past couple of weeks. I'm like, I fucking love everything he's doing.
He's like, it's like, okay, I'm done with that story. Now I can really do what I want.
Yeah.
And he's put on bangers.
Yeah.
Like
it's
Brody
a lot
King
of fun.
and him worked incredibly well together. Again, it's like he has chemistry with everybody. This didn't even feel like a ring general thing, which it felt prior to TNT title.
Yeah.
This is just like an awesome match between two different styles that like work great together.
Yeah. And he made Brody King look more monstrous than usual still.
Might be a hot take. Brody King's the best member of House of Black. Julia Hart, I think, is the second best member of House of Black.
He's definitely the most over.
He's by far the most interesting for me to watch. Every one of his matches
maybe he's the
awesome.
most motivated, too, because the other two guys' wives are in the other company.
Married to another company, which I think is the reason why that they're almost only ever on Collision.
Yeah.
Brody gets sucked into that because I think they probably worked out a thing where, we want to see our wives, so can we work only Saturdays so we can travel then? Otherwise, I want, Brody's too awesome for that. He should be on Dynamite every week.
That's why Malachi wears his little booty shorts now. He just forgot his gimmick. So, Willow Nightingale showed that she's been attacked backstage. The lights go out. Brody King attacks. The lights come back on. Brody King attacks Adam Copeland from behind. Julia is at the top of the ramp, and she strolls down the ramp. The bell eventually rings. They fight for a long time outside the ring. And then
I was worried at first that they were going to do like a no contest.
Yeah.
And you know how my feelings are about AEW no contest. I'm like, fuck that. So the bell rang. I was like, okay, cool.
That they do that.
It's about one time a year.
They teased it last week too.
Yeah.
I'm fine. And they followed.
They can tease it every week.
But they paid it off at the end of the. It all came back.
It's about once a year, no exaggeration.
So it's essentially like a handicap, not a handicap match because Julia can't tag
she can't
in.
Because it's a North American mixed tag, so you can't.
So the men fight the men, the women fight the women. Luckily for Julia, though, or maybe not so luckily, Willow comes out to a big pop, which you kind of knew was going to happen.
After Cope is got it's a good back and forth with Brody at first. Brody gets the upper hand. I think Julia maybe interfered, did something because there was something I noted. She hasn't done much yet, but that was very cool and smooth. Whatever she was, she did to distract him. So Brody gets the upper hand and just beats the shit out of Cope. Then so he's like, very much, I need somebody to tag in.
Yeah,
that's when Willow comes out to
big pop,
big giant pop because she's awesome.
And then she tags Edge or Adam Copeland's foot. Didn't know that was legal.
You can tag anything on the. That's pretty established in wrestling.
Now that you mention it, when they do Irish
like a blind tag or like two teammates that don't like each other, fuck you, I'm tagging in.
I guess I just never saw it on a foot.
I don't think I have either. But
no. And he has a big red boot on. Yeah. So
Edge always has great gear too.
Yes.
It's okay. By the way, he's the one guy. I just accept it's okay to call him Edge. Like I don't like when people are like Daniel Bryan still. Yeah. That feels like it's you're being a dick. Don't take a shot. He's just Edge. He has to be Edge.
Well, when you say
I don't remember to say Adam Copeland every time
it's
either.
Adding 400% to my syllables. It's a lot of extra
I'm trying to
work.
use the Cope because that's what they're doing too. But it's just Edge. He's Edge. Yeah. It's fine. It's the best Edge.
The way we're coping with it is to call him Edge.
To call him Edge.
Commentary acknowledges that the ladies are legal now, which again, because you don't see mixed tag matches too often anymore. So if you're newer to wrestling, this is. You need to know
I did like that they gave the little explanation. Yeah. They used to happen all the time when it was Attitude Era into Ruthless Aggression. They did a shitload of them. It was usually like a model and a wrestler. Yeah. And then obviously it could only be. But when it's actually talented wrestlers, they can do a little crossover. Yeah. Which they did here.
Attitude Era, they did ass paddle on a pole matches. But they
I was thinking about it's hard to even comfortably say the phrase bra and panties match.
Yeah.
It's an uncomfortable thing to even say out loud. It used to happen bi-weekly on TV. That's a lot of that's just the era because it was the worst era when it came for that kind of stuff. And then Vince was there. So I'm not just throwing out strays.
No.
But it's amusing to me. I have a tough time even saying that without getting weird about just saying the words.
You're not wrong. You're at a pay-per-view with your boys, 7 or 8 deep. Hey, what match is up next? No one wants to say it. You say it. Edge, since this is illegal now, spears Brody King, and then Willow does an awesome cannonball on Brody King.
Yeah, she does the ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She does that.
And then Stokely threw out an incredible tweet, posted right after the show. He said, in reference to that, the dog barking thing.
Pull it up.
He's like, all you posers. Big Stoke, I see you barking at ringside today. I'm going to slap you. You've never owned a Rough Riders chain or recited the lyrics to Party Up at Karaoke, fake-ass bitch. Stokely is wonderful on Twitter.
which would apply, but gonna have to deduct some points here because I know Brody King is into a hardcore punk kind of guy, and that is part of some of the music of that culture.
Yeah, well, sure, yes, but it's funny. He's making a joke there, Dave.
Well, actually, if you account for the damn second release,
Big Stoke, much like Drew McIntyre, is very good at Twitter. He's just funny.
He's just funny.
Yeah,
I like him a lot. The finish of the match had Julia Hart had a chain. She wrapped around her fist and punched Willow with it. Edge, this was confusing. So Julia just punches Willow with a chain.
Willow sold this incredibly well.
Yeah, she sold it like she just died. And when that happens, Edge clotheslines Brody King out of the ring. It should have been the other way around. Right, because why would Edge voluntarily leave the ring when his partner was just?
He
attacked?
didn't see it. He didn't see it happen.
Okay.
Not simultaneously, but like a
millisecond apart.
It was and his eyes were not over there. He was just like, I'm taking Brody out. Yeah. Willow's got this taken care of. Yeah. Meanwhile, she was getting knocked out. There was a little clunky thing. I didn't like that Julia put the chain on and then held it up.
Yeah,
like, look, everyone, I have a chain.
Yeah,
to show that like just put the chain on and do it. And if it doesn't show up, it's great on TV. That's fine. I'd rather it look a little bit more real, but that's just like a preference thing. I'd rather you not like do the obvious for TV and the viewing audience at home or whatever. Just do the thing because it looks cooler. But she did throw the punch good, and Willow like sold it like she was hit by a chain in the jaw.
To the point where she was just passed out.
Completely unconscious.
And that's how the match ended.
And Julia put her in the, I forget what the name of her finish is, but that like crossface thing she does.
Some submission move, yeah.
And Willow was like, it was like she was putting it on a corpse. Yeah. Like Willow did not.
It was out like a light.
Very, very good unconscious sell.
Yeah.
Like Kyle O'Reilly level unconscious sell.
Yeah. That match is going to be fucking amazing,
yes,
too.
Yes, it is.
After this is over, I don't want to talk about her anymore. Mercedes.
Oh yeah,
Monet
I forgot she even came out. So yeah, she comes out
with a chair.
Yeah, which is the most physical I think that she's gotten.
That she held a chair,
carried a chair, and ran.
She carry her walking papers and go back to Japan. Julia Hart leaves the ring when she sees the chair. And I wrote still zero physicality from this woman. Money well spent.
I don't know why Julia Hart split the ring because there's been no evidence that she can physically do anything.
No. For all we know is she's has visual impairments, and you could swing that chair all day and not even come.
God bless Jennifer Pepperman.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
We get the Joe Renee backstage now.
Yes, sir.
It's Joe in an interview. It is what you think.
Called him a nuisance. Called Swerve a nuisance and a punching bag.
The title needed to be disinfected.
Yeah.
Renee asked him why did he look so, because for almost out of character at the end of the show. It was last week or 2 weeks ago when they did the go home segment.
It's a contract signing,
Swerve,
right?
Yeah, contract signing.
Yeah.
Swerve beat Joe up and got his hands on the title. It was a great segment for Swerve. Joe actually looked in that segment like flustered, angry to the point where he was like a little upset. So Renee asks him about that because the camera got a shot of him looking flustered, which is not a Joe thing.
Right.
And Joe, characteristically for himself, had it was bullshit, but it was a great answer. And he just, I was afraid that he had his hands on my property. I wasn't going to get back right away. And then when I did, it might have to be disinfected to be TV ready like this week.
Yeah.
Which is just so smooth and Joe-esque.
Then he called him a choke artist.
Which, if he wasn't a heel, I would have a big nitpick with because he was the tag champ for a long time.
Yeah.
But it also kind of gives me the 1% of doubt I need because are they trying to plant that seed that Swerve is a choke artist? Are they trying to build that story now?
Yeah.
I don't think so. But it's a good little, if it's a red herring, it's a good little red herring to throw out that they came back to in this episode too.
Yeah. But he didn't
gives
lose,
me a reason.
He didn't lose the last title match.
It's bullshit. And as a heel promo thing, I think it's bullshit. But I it's the smart heel move to do. Yeah. And it also is that how he's going to get into Swerve's head and potentially win the match? Maybe they don't. Maybe they do want Ospreay to win it at Wembley, and they don't want to have two champs in a row that they consider the people think of as transitional, even though in AEW a transitional champ is 5 months long, like Joe.
Right.
But yeah, if they take it off Joe now, put it on Swerve or anybody else, and then they do decide to go with Ospreay at Wembley, then that's two transitional champs. They maybe don't want to do that. I'm fine with it, but maybe they don't want to do that.
They got to hurry up if they're going to go with Ospreay. Pay-per-view's in 4 months.
I wouldn't have him win the title at Wembley. Everybody just like assumes that's going to happen or thinks it should. Yeah. I think Swerve Ospreay should have a match at Wembley. I think that Swerve should win it.
Yeah,
like we can still get our 6-star Wembley Swerve Ospreay match.
It's too quick to get anything meaningful.
As long as you got
Ospreay.
Like Jamie Hayter there, put a title on her in England, you can get your like happy crowd moment.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then Joe finishes up saying, Swerve doesn't have to be a choke artist at Dynasty because I will be the one to choke him out instead. Joe with the wordplay, A+ again.
Yeah, he's the best.
This was my favorite thing the Young Bucks have ever done. And like, no bullshit. Like, I loved it and like
it's perfect.
Immediately thought, why couldn't this just be what they do the entire time?
I thought you were talking about something else when you said bane of your existence, because there was another thing that happened on the show that was been the bane of both of our existences, and I like had to begrudgingly admit that it was not terrible.
That's in 2 segments. Two segments from now. Because that was interesting too. But they started.
This was great.
This was tremendous character work. So the Young Bucks and FTR have the finals of the tag team title tournament this Sunday. It's when did that get announced? Did they just add it because?
They added it, and then they gave you the reason why during this show. They added it like a week and a half ago as a stip suggested by the Bucks, and then. Today they mentioned, Excalibur Shivani. We're like, a ladder match stylistically is like a big advantage for the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
Because FTR, that's not the way that they wrestle generally, and the Young Bucks are like, the Hardy Boys.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, they really are. So now it's like, oh, they did that because they're the dick bosses and they're in Tony Khan's ear, so they requested their stip on the match.
So it was just added.
Yeah, right, it was just added. It's going to be awesome. Help make the match even better.
No complaints whatsoever. I was just curious because I couldn't. It
felt kind of random to me until this.
But
too.
all the wrestling I watched, I'm like, did I fucking fast forward through this?
A lot of wrestling.
So they're playing a package, hyping the Bucks FTR match, and we're like 10 seconds.
It's
in.
It's FTR focused.
Yeah,
it's like the package. At least it is in the first 10 seconds.
Right, and you just hear is it Matt Jackson?
Yeah, it's always Matt.
He's overdubbing, like you just hear his voice, and he goes, "This
Matthew,
package."
I'm sorry, excuse me,
Matthew. It's Matthew. He said, "This package."
First time I've made that mistake.
This package sucks. Who edited this? Tony, cut it. And it goes backstage, and like the Young Bucks and Okada are standing next to Tony Khan and Gorilla. And like they're just dictating what
telling Tony
package gets played.
Cut this. We don't have time for it.
Which is what a middle management douchebag would do.
Yeah,
that's genius.
So there's 2 elements that I super love about that interaction between Tony Khan and the Bucks right here. One, like they're leaning into the internet criticism. That's what they always do. But like the middle manager, they're EVPs, they have power. People bitched about that for a long time. So now they're leaning into that. Right. Also, another thing people have said many a time is that, Tony Khan is just a Young Bucks elite mark. Mm-hmm. And that's what he's doing here. Because they are, as middle managers, they have to be like, cut it for time. Right, Tony? We can do that. Right, Tony? And Tony's just like, yep, yes, yeah, guys. Love it, guys. He's playing the mark for the Young Bucks.
Right.
And that's how they get to wield all this power that they don't really have.
Yeah.
They still have to go to Tony, but now they're showing us that Tony Khan is a mark for the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
Like people online said, years ago or whatever.
Look at you.
It's wonderful.
Look at you.
I love dovetailing storytelling.
I'm just excited to read whatever version of the Star Wars novels are that you're going to write a year from now.
I don't currently like Star Wars nearly as much as I like
AEW.
But
the AEW.
My fanfic?
Yeah. But like not even fan fiction, just like you explaining this like a car manual.
Extended universe.
We'll go with that. But this was my favorite thing, and I rarely give these guys high marks like this. I fucking love this whole segment. And they bumped this. They're like, we're bumping your segment. They just, it was a total like power move.
They're like, sorry guys, we don't have time for that segment today. We got a really packed show. I think my Matthew's getting pretty good.
Yeah. It's your Ospreay, not as gravelly or intense.
It's clearly to us intentionally put on gravel. It's not a real gravel. It's him doing like a thing.
Yeah.
So not really his. We know it's not his voice.
That's a really
so he's
good.
putting on
That's
the
pretty
voice.
good,
It's
actually.
a little growl at the beginning, at the end of each word.
Yeah, you got a future as a young buck, Billy Buck.
Yeah, I don't think I could do a 450.
Not with that attitude. You got to believe in yourself. No one's gonna do it for you.
They did another awesome promo thing. It's one of my favorite things, just because it's an 80s thing.
Yeah.
When they threw it to Okada, who's standing behind him, tell him, Rainmaker. any wrestling promo when one guy says "tell him" to his partner, it makes me think of like the Road Warriors or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
and then they do their pre-written piece that's never conversationally jointed to the thing that was before them.
This one was impressive again, though, because it was in English.
Okada basically said Pac is a dead man.
Yeah.
So one of the gripes I had is a lot of guys doing a lot of wrestling the week before a pay-per-view. Like I'm just thinking, if I am a wrestler and like I'm wrestling every fucking night leading up to the pay-per-view, maybe not so smart, but they're the only ones that explain it. They said if they're just treating this next match like a tune-up match, and it was something so quick in and out where you're like, okay, they asked for this. This isn't like a thing that were booked on. Danielson, I feel like, is right. He has just neutered his
he's on a tag match on
like
Collision.
We got to. He wrestled on Collision last week. He was wrestling on Collision this week.
The end of this
and then
show,
he's wrestling
like,
on fucking
Dave.
Dynasty.
Oh, Dave.
Like, stop it. Keep him off of TV.
You can put him, like, I agree, keep him off TV, but you can, even if you want to put him on TV, just do it like you're doing with Ospreay. That's fine. Like a showcase on Dynamite.
Make him 1996 Bret Hart after WrestleMania 12. Don't bring him back until Survivor Series when he fights Austin, and we're all like, Jesus Christ, I'm happy to see him.
Yeah.
Run all the video packages you want. Let us shove that in Ospreay's face. Also, hey, look how great this guy is.
Not like you're asking for them to pull. I know it's like what Danielson wants to do is wrestle all the time, but it's not like you're asking to pull him off TV for 2 months.
No.
It's like a 3 or 4 week build.
But if
just keep him away.
This is a dream match. This is a dream match. Dude, build it like a fucking dream match.
And like the match on Collision, the one they actually booked at the end of this show, I look at that, I'm like, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
it's
going to be so good.
Hardcore like match between guys that I love.
But the day before he's got to fight Ospreay,
I'd rather,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd rather keep that off.
They have such a big roster. Have Collision, have other matches.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Plus, like they're doing all the builds without him on TV. Like you don't.
Yes.
It's just all the build, and it's great build, but without Danielson, and then also he wrestles a match.
Yeah.
It's not like it's got. This one is tied into the story sure, but like it's unnecessary.
Right.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna love probably my favorite thing on Collision.
Yes.
But it's unnecessary, and it could potentially detract a little bit from like the big monster dream match that you have coming up the day after.
like I just imagine, like I'm just trying to picture if they kept him off TV and his fucking music hits, and you're like, look at how excited we were to see Moxley.
Absolutely.
And he was gone for just over a month.
Yeah.
Do the same thing to Danielson, and you make him feel like not to borrow a common phrase in wrestling right now, you make him feel very final bossish.
Yeah, and he's gonna be the situational heel. He'll get cheered a ton too.
Yeah.
But like Ospreay's so over as a babyface that
his style
it's
too
okay to
not,
keep him off TV because he's kind of gonna be heelish anyway in the match.
It's gonna be so fucking good.
Again, absolutely. Again, we're both. It's not like we're bitching about it stuff, but like. All of the builds to this has been wonderful, and this match is going to be.
It's going to be stupid.
Like, I can't imagine a world where if somebody gets hurt, otherwise, I mean, if
maybe
it's not
don't
an
have
injury,
a hardcore bunkhouse match the night before the show.
But also, they closed the show with one of the coolest things I've ever seen in my life, and I immediately thought, how do you do that with the guy that's in your main event?
Yeah,
it's awesome, but it's scary.
Right.
Risky, I should say.
Yeah. That landing was rough.
But this is going to be amazing. Like it's Ospreay Danielson. Ospreay is showing me more now than I even knew prior to his AEW run. He can wrestle any style.
Yeah,
he's done now 5 matches. I think 5 different style match.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. We'll get to his match in a little bit, but
I have to blow my load early.
No, not well. It's okay. We just edge for a little while.
It's Dynamite. I can
like the fuse.
I can build it back. I can blow it, bring it back up, build it back up.
Oh,
go 2 or 3 times. 2 hours.
Sully North over here. They go to the ring. The Bucks come out first. They do their entrance. I get it now. Like you don't have to do the come on more. Like it was funny the first couple times.
Oh, but the
I'm over it.
The Yeah, that's the point. It's obnoxious. It's supposed to be.
Well, I don't watch when they do it.
I liked the lead into it though at the end of the promo.
Oh, go on.
Get the. They were like, okay, get the elevator. Up.
Oh, okay.
Stupid. Put it up. Okay, good. And then they went over.
Stop fast forwarding so
Oh my
much.
God. I mean, you're saying positive stuff about the Young Bucks. I can't really ask too much more from you. I understand.
It sounds like you want more. Give me more.
I believe all of this is wonderful.
Yeah.
But as if I know what you.
What
like,
if I said
who you don't like and who can be irritating?
Oh no,
to you. I think you're being very giving with the Young Bucks today. Is what I'm saying.
No, I loved every and this is a small thing. If you are going to flip a coin and it's going to mimic the sound of the coin hitting the floor, maybe time it a little bit better. I agree,
and it has until this week.
It has
the first time it didn't, and I was like, "Ooh!"
It was a little off.
Why isn't that perfect?
My ears and my eyes,
especially when you saw a perfect thing, keep the perfect stuff going.
Absolutely. So then Okada comes out, and this is building to a Young Bucks Okada versus Daniel Garcia Penta and Pac match.
I got to end of that promo too. I'm sorry. One last thing. It doesn't matter how many times it happens. Okada's English surprises me every single time he opens his mouth, because I've been watching the guy for the better part of a decade, and I've never seen him speak a single word of English.
Right.
And all of a sudden he's like almost unaccented. He's got a Japanese accent, but not like a big heavy one or anything.
Right.
Just sounds like a dude you'd work with that was from Japan a bunch of years ago or something.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. But he's like, Okada just carries himself like a star.
A lot of people in both companies can take a hint from, like, if you want to be a star, act like a fucking star.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. Match was awesome.
It was great. Daniel Garcia,
awesome.
Like, I was getting a little worried because he was getting collisions, he was getting rampages, but I'm like, man, Garcia he had momentum going again. People are behind him. But he hasn't been on Dynamite. You got to put him on your main show. Yeah. He got the most shine in this match. Yeah. He ended up eating the pin, but not in a way that hurt him. And he looked great throughout. Yeah. Dude, also, like, he can just wrestle the crowd back into loving him anytime you put him in the ring.
Well, he's got a bunch of little fun. Everybody loves that dance.
Yeah, he's got the dance. But he also, his in ring is phenomenal, in an exciting way.
Yeah, he has character. He's like legitimately great in ring, and he's building. That was one of the big criticisms that other podcasts that don't talk about wrestling would discuss.
Message boards. We'll say message boards.
We'll say message boards. And they were like bitching that Daniel Garcia was closing every he was main eventing every Dynamite for a while, and like I agreed with him for a while because he didn't really have a character. He was just like a good wrestler.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like main events you're supposed to crescendo to a main event, not just put on a very good wrestling match about two people I don't care about.
Yeah.
But showcases, you know what I mean? Like I'm
agreeing with you. I'm saying those were showcases, not what you put in the middle of the show. You don't do a no story showcase.
Absolutely.
The main event.
But now, like, okay, like we have to stop punishing him for the sins of the past is a really strong way to say that, but like he's not that guy anymore. So like he's developed tremendously, and where he's at in the show, cool. If he's gonna eat a pin and be in a 6-man, get him on TV. Keep people,
and get him out there showing what he can do.
Yeah,
like for the brunt of the match.
So when it comes time to I don't know, international championship or something like that, this son of a bitch might win.
I think Garcia is the anti-Wardlow. He is the dude that I do actually think, like, every time you give him anything, he grabs it, sinks his teeth in, and gets it over like immediately. Yeah. Like over the course of a single match,
right?
People are going nuts for him, even if they didn't going nuts for him at the start of the match.
Yeah,
like every opportunity he gets, he kills it. But they have started and stopped him a couple of times.
Yeah, well, they
keep
put
it
him
going.
Keep him in the vortex.
The vortex was a benefit because he wouldn't have got his little dance or his different gear or any of that stuff if he hadn't been in the vortex. Being honest.
I have a very hard thing to say for the next segment that I don't want to say. This match was awesome. They did a super kick party rainmaker combo, which I fucking loved.
Yeah.
EVP trigger on Daniel Garcia.
The spot I want to talk about is a very sports entertaining one. Matthew got on the mic mid-match. I love a mid-match mic talk with The Rock. I don't care who it is. Like, it's always great.
Right.
But Matthew gets in the ring and starts like roughing up an already hurt Daniel Garcia while talking on the mic to the crowd, and then Garcia gets him in like a back suplex, and he's like, "Oh no, put me down. We're good, bro. We're good." And then he back suplexes him. The mic goes flying.
All right, I'm skipping Collision and Rampage moving forward, so I could actually watch this. The amount of fast forwarding by 10 seconds I have to do, and I miss all this shit because I got to get through.
It's the little details.
But here, Rampage is 1 hour, Collision's 2 hours. Right?
Yeah, you don't have to watch those shows.
Battle of the Belts
Collision
was an hour.
Is just pornography for people like me.
It was like 6 hours
of wrestling porn for now.
But it plays
stories.
into what?
To a degree, but you could miss it completely, and it's not gonna like make you not understand any of the stuff that happens.
But that's
on
like
Dynamite.
5 hours of Dynamite that I watched this week. Plus, you got like 5 hours of WWE.
I would really say just skip the Collision.
All right.
It's not like. I'll let you know if it's important.
You shoot me
and then
a
you
text.
can watch it. If something big happens on Collision, shoot you a text.
Appreciate it. That's all I ask. They do a thing where they get a ladder, they being the Young Bucks, get a ladder, and they put Daniel Garcia in the... So they lay the ladder down, they open it, they put Daniel Garcia in the ladder, they close it so there's pressure on him. And Nicholas goes to the top, assumingly to splash him, not smash him.
By the way, the Bucks took my advice. They are obviously listening to the podcast. New, more flexible gear, and they got the sneakers back. They got rid of the boots that were slippery. Yeah. Sorry, continue.
No, and then they still look like bellhops. They look like bellhops. But Nicholas goes to splash Daniel Garcia in the ladder, and Pac produces a bell hammer,
which he's used in the past.
Yeah. It looked a lot like the rock hammer that Andy Dufresne used.
It is exactly that, but that is what the bell hammer is. Like
Andy Dufresne called it a rock hammer. It's for polishing and shaping rocks.
It is in one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yeah,
great short story too, Stephen King.
It is,
or novella, I should say.
Novella.
But the first time I saw a hammer like that was well before I ever saw Shawshank Redemption, because it was in like the 80s when I started watching wrestling. That's the hammer that they've used my whole life in wrestling.
Well, Pac has a rock hammer.
The bastard brought a hammer in.
What was Nicholas or Matt was saying outside the ring? He's like, "We're not going in. You got a hammer or something like that."
Yeah, I mean, I didn't write it down, but it was something
like that. He was
give a hammer.
It was a very logical response. And then, so Sunday it is Pac versus Okada for the Continental title.
That'll be great. The only problem I have with this is Pac has zero chance of winning. Yeah. It'll be a great match. So I did my little gripe from this match. Not even a gripe. It's just something that they do in these like triple threat 3-way when it's a build to a pay-per-view thing. They did the cliche thing at the very beginning of the match where Pac and Okada started the match like they were going to face off, never actually got physical. Okada used it as a distraction and then just tagged in the Bucks to get the upper hand so that they didn't actually, which I like, it's the right move, but it's still a little cliched. So I was like, I've seen this a million times.
Right.
It's my biggest
also
bugaboo.
And the only minor down I have here is why, if this was a tune-up match, was it against the guy you're facing? On
again, that's a cliche. They do these 3 ways always.
I know, but again, like if the Bucks are wielding power, I'm still. I wish they're
not wielding power.
Of course they are.
They're like in the ear of the guy that has the power.
Well, okay,
they still are begging for it, but he's a mark for them. So
by proxy, they're.
But it's not the same as like just being able to unilaterally make decisions. It's a different character than that.
But they're in his ear and getting away with whatever they want. They got the stips that changed. They got the segments cut. They could say, "Hey, we want a tune-up match tonight," and it's just 3 local guys, which is what I would like.
That might be like. That would be like, it would make me believe it less that Tony Khan, like, he's in character, he's a mark for the Bucks, but he's also got a TV show to run, and like, it's bad TV to put. Like all the other shit that they're requesting doesn't hurt the television program.
Right.
It would to put the Bucks in there with jobbers when normally the build to the pay-per-view would be some kind of a multi-man, with the pay-per-view opponent involved.
Right. Or maybe do a handy. I think they could do better with matchmaking. That's all.
That's
a minor down, I said.
I don't like that in wrestling, but every wrestling company does this exact same thing.
Yeah.
I think everyone should change this trope.
Yeah.
But I like whatever.
Yeah. It was nice to see Pac. I haven't seen him in a while.
He was like almost dead.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he's not.
And now
he looks really good.
Back, and I love the visual of Okada and Pac being super short, looking up at him too.
He went up to do the Black Arrow, and I'm like, I didn't know your legs had muscles like that in there. I'm like, where do you build those muscles?
He got more ripped somehow while he was out.
Jacked.
I've never seen a person so consistently shredded as Pac is.
Speaking of consistently shredded, the next segment had Chris Jericho,
Lionheart, baby.
Taz and Hook. And the purpose of this is at one of the two shows over the weekend, Jericho got in Taz's ear and asked him basically, and this is how it was presented, to broker a meeting between Chris Jericho and Hook. Okay.
The real point of this was that over the last week, Chris Jericho, it was reported, trademarked the terms Jericho Vortex, Learning Tree, a couple others.
Yeah. But, it's good that he is like leaning into reasons we don't like him. It's making me like him, which I'm not.
This was pretty good.
This was great from top to bottom.
I'm just going to give it pretty good because...
No, it was great because...
The performance was great.
Yeah.
I still don't trust him enough to like, and he's back on a pay-per-view after we were like, just no, don't put him on pay-per-views anymore. Yeah. And he snuck his way back onto a pay-per-view here. So like, I don't want to fall for it basically, but this was a great performance here on this show. Like,
I thought this was very, very entertaining.
It was very much entertaining.
I'll say that instead of great because that's what I really meant. So Taz is there to make sure things basically just go smoothly. Jericho thanks Taz and Hook after all entrances there in the ring. Jericho thanks Taz and Hook for making this all happen. Jericho pulled Hook off the ring last week just to get his attention.
Yeah.
He thinks he's not listening well enough. He goes, I'm doing this all. Jericho's talking to Hook now. He says, I'm doing this all for you. Some people say I'm the greatest of all time at this. Other people talk about the learning tree. I am the learning tree.
This is all delivered, by the way, with full heel snark. There's no tweenerism to it at all. It's like it's Jericho doing a heel Jericho.
Absolutely, and which is like what he's very good at.
Yeah, he's actually getting reaction from the audience for the first time in 2 months because he's doing heel.
Yes.
We know what this is.
He's got a nice beard too. I like the facial hair.
His delivery was awesome too.
I am the learning tree. Think about, and this is the part that I begrudgingly don't want to admit, but he's got a fucking point here. Think about everybody in AEW who have listened to my perfect parables, who have listened to my pearls of wisdom, have gotten to the next level. All of them. MJF, Orange Cassidy, Eddie Kingston, Danny Garcia, Jon Moxley, Ospreay.
He's stretching it a little bit with a couple of those names.
I would give him... I'll give him 80. I'll give him a B+ on like efficacy of this because like these guys got on their own, but like they were next to him for a long time.
He's right about a bunch of them.
Yeah,
Moxley, you have to be Dean Ambrose before like, he listened to Jericho when he was Dean Ambrose and they were feuding over a plant.
Right.
But it never happened in AEW. Orange Cassidy, like
he had that's one I don't agree with.
It wasn't really,
but like without. Okay, so
Ospreay he had a match with
Kingston I'm less than 80%. Kingston and Garcia for sure.
Yeah,
sure.
I think that's intentional. I think half of them are real ones. Yeah, could be like, oh yeah,
and MJF can go either way.
And then he threw. No, MJF was. Remember, that was a big, long thing.
I'm just saying in regards to his long term. Like if he wasn't
MJF
around,
was going to get as over as he was going to get. Like he was MJF always.
Yeah,
but he did spend a lot of time like in the Jericho learning tree.
Didn't it make like variety, like when they did their song and dance and shit?
It was pretty good too. Very silly, but
so I'm good. Like, okay.
But I did like his heel Jericho. He throws in Ospreay because he had a match with him. Yeah. Throws in Moxley because he worked with him in WWF, WWE a million years ago.
It makes sense to it's a passably plausible agree.
Yeah, but it's a shit. It's the thing that this douchebag would do.
Right, but this is
make himself.
This is good heel
pump
work.
Himself up. Yeah,
because, I mean, what did he say right before that? My perfect parables, my pearls of wisdom. Like,
my wonderful learning tree.
Everyone who has come into the Jericho Vortex has come out the other side a better performer, a better wrestler, and let's be honest, a better person as well. He wants that for Hook too, and he asks Hook if he's willing to sit under the learning tree. And Hook goes, no.
Yeah, the whole time looks like I'm like, you old prick, you stupid old asshole.
Said he doesn't need his help. Jericho says to not be stupid. Taz tells Jericho to relax.
Yeah, Taz is still in the ring, by the way. I don't know
He's brokering this. He has to. Brokerage requires constant presence within 4 feet. It's by law, tax code. I
like that they are like admitting more openly. I've always wanted Taz to be a more emotional about Hook. It's okay. Like, I think it's okay. Do that. Make that a story. Yeah. We all know. Like, it's not like Jerry the King pretending to.
He has the FTW championship.
Yeah, yeah. So
he
like
was in a stable with him.
So I like when if Taz gets a little more invested in the Hook match when he does. I don't think he does it enough, to be honest.
No. I don't think he ever has to a noticeable degree until this.
Yeah.
Which is why it stuck out so much, I think. So Taz telling Jericho to relax. Jericho says, "I'm just doing what you should have done 30 years ago and giving this kid some proper guidance."
Did you get the
big ooh?
Did you get the Excalibur little quiet?
No.
Line right here made me laugh so hard. So Jericho says, "I'm just telling him what you should have been telling him for the last 30 years." Excalibur just like, Hook is not 30 years old, but okay, I get what he's saying.
That's pretty funny. Taz says to calm down again. Jericho says Taz has to stop. Jericho tells Hook he's not as good as he thinks he is, despite being told his whole life that he is, which, good.
Yeah.
He's just digging into Taz right now, man. Taz starts to interject, and Jericho shoves Taz. And
they did mention, which is true, Taz's knee is fucked, so he can't take bumps anymore. Yeah. so
this got a huge reaction, and it got very loud. "You fucked up" chants. And it was clearly for Hook. Yeah. Like, it was very cool. But it's the first physical, like, in any kind of physical activity I've seen Taz do in 15 years or something. He doesn't take bumps because his neck is fucked, his knee is fucked. So, like, it was, that is like a transgression. Right.
And then people were like, Hook is so over, man. I still think he needs to work on a lot of stuff, but, like, he's so over.
Yeah. The crowd went unglued for that. Like, not even exaggerating. It was, the crowd was loud.
You fucked up. We get it. Hook's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
It's like all of it.
Yeah. Hook shoves Jericho into the corner. He tells Jericho he crossed the line and he'll show him anytime and play anywhere and to get out of his ring. These two are fighting on Sunday at Dynasty.
They are. You know what? First one was really good. I'm sure this one will be even better.
I think Jericho's running out of guys to get the criticism that he constantly gets.
Yeah.
And if he's going to like be a little bit aware of what his perception is and he's going to lean into that, I think it's the best course of action.
It is.
Which is what resulted in the only enjoyable Jericho segment. That's not true. No, the past couple weeks have been good.
This thing's been good. This thing so far. I've been reluctantly saying, you know what? The match with Hook was pretty good. You know what? This little story is
cautiously optimistic.
Okay. But this is what made this great is that Jericho actually put the stamp on it. I'm the heel here.
Yeah.
Because it's been a little bit up in the air up until now. This was like I'm pushing Taz over. Well, because I am cutting this promo.
He was playing Mr. Nice Guy last week. Yeah. Like, hey, just follow my lead kind of thing. And now he's just like fucking over it.
And it worked. Yeah. I do think it's funny that the thing that is the one thing that could possibly have worked for Jericho is to do the Young Bucks thing where you just lean into the thing that everybody's criticizing you for, which is like in kayfabe in real life too, like that's what he's doing. He's stealing another thing from another.
Well, not to bring up this piece of shit, but that's what made the greatest heel of all time, Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Like, it's
you lean into the criticism.
Look at Edge.
Yeah.
It's made Edge a goddamn superstar because he banged Lita.
Yeah, for sure. But it's just amusing because whenever you like gives Jericho shit for like sucking the life force of other performers, then the thing that he does that works is leaning into that, but in doing that, you're also like basically doing the thing. You're stealing the thing from the guys that are doing the best work on your show right now. Is the Bucks. That's what they do. That's what they always do.
Right.
So Jericho's doing it now.
Yes,
but he did it really well.
But it's also great. It's a very self-aware move.
He's also more motivated than he has been in a long time. I could have said that just from the Hook match alone was the best Jericho match in a long time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't awesome, but it was a good match. It was like I had really no complaints about it.
Well, he's also like, he's good in the ring and like, not as much anymore. He
hasn't been like the last year.
But like where he is undeniable is character work.
Yeah.
So like be that and like be this for a long time. Don't try to stable up anymore.
Be heel.
Yeah.
This heel.
Straight up like I know better than you because I'm the wise Chris Jericho.
And you can do this with a bunch of different people.
Yes.
Like Hook can win the match at the pay-per-view. He gets his rub from when he already beat Jericho. Or even if he loses, whatever. Get Jericho that heel too because Hook already has a win against him.
Just keep whoever is under Christian's learning tree away from Jericho. Because they have they're touching gimmicks kind of.
It's two different approaches to the same idea.
Just keep them far away from each other.
Christian doesn't like forcefully try to get anybody. All his people think of him as a father.
Yeah.
So like it's different,
but it's
different approaches, different results, but a very similar.
They have the same flavor
kind of thing.
Yeah. But good. I can't believe I'm saying like
I don't want him to do well because I don't want him to stick around. I want him to go back to WWE.
Yeah.
I think that's like that would. 3 weeks ago, I'd have been like, that's the only thing that he can do that is going to be interesting. That's not going to happen either because him and Triple H have hated each other for like 20 years.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's probably the move for him. If you go away for a while and then go back to WWE, get your big like, what's the legend pop, and then sign a legend deal with them. Like, but now I'm like, God damn it, like it's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that's only if he does go back to WWE. This only increases his cachet.
Yeah.
Right. So like Christian, like when he left WWE, like okay, who gives a shit?
When he came to AEW, I was like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, and but now
4 years later, I'm like, he's the best thing ever.
If he showed up at the Royal Rumble in a fucking turtleneck,
it's amazing. Both Edge and Christian are like, I like them so much more now than I did on their last run.
Because they're giving him shit to do.
Yeah.
But now I'm sure when they go back to they go back to WWE, they got a little bit more freedom because somebody's not there to
oh, for sure. And Christian has just shown what he can do talking. Like more than he ever has in his career. He's always been a good talker. But
again, he's not on TV. I like that. Keep him away.
Yeah, well, because
make him special.
There are already 10 matches on his pay-per-view.
No, but so also like, what are you going to do with him?
Yeah,
keep him special. Keep him away. So when he comes back, it's a huge goddamn deal. Backstage interview. Renee was there with Swerve, and she asked for his reaction to Joe calling Swerve a choke artist, and he says, Renee says, Renee says he is not. When asked. Oh, Swerve asks Renee.
Swerve asks Renee, do you think I'm a choke artist?
I just couldn't understand how I wrote this.
Why the seed of doubt is in my head now, because
he's asking for opinions.
If he was not doubting himself at all, he would be like, that's bullshit. Yeah. I was the tag champ. I've knocked down every wall you put in front of me.
I didn't lose the match. Hangman lost the match.
Yeah. But this was like asking Renee, do you think I'm a choke artist?
Yeah.
And then kind of defending himself and like saying he's not, but not in the way that like you would if you didn't have any doubt in your mind.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, that'll make this match more interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Subtle. Very subtle. Swerve says he's been stumbling forward into success. He said this past year he's been put into a coffin, got up, stapled into barbed wire, got back up. He got hit in the face with a chain, got back up. Joe can call him whatever, but this Sunday at Dynasty, he's going to be calling him the new AEW World Champion. Renee asks, what makes you so confident you'll win? And he pauses, and he says he shouldn't be answering Renee. He should answer Joe directly.
So I like this.
So he takes off his lapel mic, stands up, and just breaks the fourth wall, stares right into the camera, and he
gets
says,
like right in the lens.
Very Sid 1992 style.
Yeah. His unhinged eye makeup. It was very popping here.
Yeah. Very raccoony eyes. And he says he will tell it to Joe's face in the ring tonight. So sets up face-to-face for the world title program later in the night. This next match, yikes.
Oh, it was at the Mariah May, Deonna Purrazzo. So Deonna Purrazzo had like a great first match.
Yeah. And
then a couple of really solid ones.
Yeah.
And they've been kind of trash since.
This sucks.
I don't think that Deonna Purrazzo is to the level of AEW women's division.
No, this sucks.
Like Mariah May's had only great matches.
Yeah.
Every match I've ever seen her have. This was like botchy. Never seen that from her.
Right.
Their chemistry wasn't there. I think Purrazzo might just not have it anymore.
Right.
Like TNA, she was great there. She showed that like she can do the grapple thing, but outside of a couple of matches, it's been clunky in every one of them. And we know that like the grapple thing works with these hard hitters because Serena Deeb does it, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
I'd rather see Athena on Dynamite. I'd rather see Billie Starks. She's too young. They probably don't want to put her on Dynamite, but I'd rather see her than Deonna Purrazzo.
Put Queen Aminata on Dynamite. Put Anna Jay on Dynamite.
Queen Aminata, I think, is a future world champ. Yeah. But like Anna Jay just had a match with Mariah May last week. That was a banger. Yeah. This was clunky as hell. Like Mariah May kind of pulled out something at the end because she did her headbutt, which is always like a good spot.
Yeah.
But it was not a great performance.
The only reason they did this is because, first off, Deonna Purrazzo wins with a roll-up. Toni Storm. Who's Toni Storm wrestling on Sunday?
Well, the end of this match was the best part of the match.
You're right.
Was the run-in.
Yeah. So
from her opponent.
So Thunder Rosa comes down to clean house after the match.
Potatoes Luther.
Yes.
Punches him full force, hard as she can, in the ear.
Yeah, she plays the knockout game on the way to the ring.
Shivani absolutely loved it. He was like, "Oh, Rosa! Oh, it was like a freight train with Luther right there."
So Thunder Rosa gets in the ring, and Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa have a little bit of a dissension, some disagreeable words. Deonna Purrazzo saying that she doesn't need Thunder Rosa's help, and I mean she does, and she won. But that's setting up what. So I'm almost fully confident that Deonna Purrazzo is going to be an element in the finish of this match.
Yeah, probably. Which I wasn't super excited, but Rosa looked good here. She was moving better than she has since she came back.
She looks very motivated too.
Yeah, she does.
And then so Toni Storm goes to attack Thunder Rosa, but the turntables turn, and Toni Storm ends up in a camel clutch. And while her arms are pinned back, Thunder Rosa pulls out purple lipstick. And
does the humiliating makeup all over the face.
Am I pretty? Move. Tell me I'm pretty. Rubs lipstick all over Toni Storm's face. And this match actually is heat going into the pay-per-view.
Rosa was very believably scary here, and just the rundown and move and getting in the ring, she just moved better than she has since she came back.
These two are gonna.
So I think they're gonna beat the shit out of each
other. Each other. Yeah.
I would have much rather this been Rosa versus Mariah May. Maybe you don't want to give that away, but. Yeah. That would have been awesome.
Yes.
And you could still would have worked. But
but then they have the Deonna Purrazzo angle, and but that's what they're doing.
I would vote her off the island.
That's what they're doing though. That's where
there's
going.
lots of spots in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And there's lots of ladies in Ring of Honor that I'd rather see on Dynamite every week.
That's just where they're going. So the match sucked, but the heat after noticeably jumped up.
Yeah, I would say the segment as a whole was a success despite a bad match. Because Rosa was great.
Yeah, it had very hockey stick statistics, real big spike at the end.
Rosa is very believable when she's motivated like this.
Yeah,
she's very believable as a scary woman.
Yeah,
she was like, "Oh Jesus Christ!"
Right. Next, we had Renee backstage with the Bang Bang Gang, the Guns, and a Papa Blade, which I enjoyed.
I like the dynamic of sleazeball Jay White and Renee looking at him like, you fucking scumbag. It makes my skin crawl. I need to shower just being here with you. She's very good at selling all that stuff just with a look.
Right.
And he plays it up a ton too.
Basically they propose that the Bang Bang Gang and the Acclaimed have a winner-take-all six-man trios title match. Thank the Lord. Hopefully they dissolve one of these fucking things. Can we dissolve all six of them?
It's the reason.
Let's get rid of them.
My hope
is they
become a Ring of Honor defended belts.
Oh, and it stays on that show.
You can combine them and then just make it a thing that happens on Ring of Honor.
Oh, I'm very... Yeah,
it's a historic Ring of Honor thing.
Yeah.
They've done trios forever. The six-man tag thing has been going on in Ring of Honor for 20 years or something. Oh, put it on that show that I don't watch. That's cool. And then bring all these people back to my show, have them do tag and singles.
Yeah.
Because they're all better in those spots.
And those are also just more enjoyable things to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we could burn these or put them on a Ring of Honor.
But I'm glad that it's a step in the right direction. Just doing a thing that is if it's not dissolving one of the belts, I'll be shocked. Because as soon as they started interacting with each other, these groups, I was like, I bet they're doing this so they can dissolve one of these titles. So now that they're actually having the match, it would be weird if they didn't do that.
Those trios titles on AEW are relatively new, too, which is really weird that they're getting rid of them already.
They're not. That's good. You do that.
No, but I'm just saying.
When you make mistakes.
Yeah, you fix them.
Pivot right away.
But they're not historically the hottest at that. But
no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would have done it already. It just didn't. You had a great. The series of matches early on with the Elite and Death Triangle, that was awesome. Yeah. Everything since then has just been nobody cares about these belts. Pivot then. So now I'm glad that they're pivoting at all.
No, I agree up and down. The next segment,
I do like the way the belts look a lot better than the WWE tag titles that they just introduced, though. Maybe they can send those over to WWE and they can use those on Raw for their tag titles.
They
the big ugly
but
pennies.
they just redid them though. It's going to be 5 years before we get new titles. So after the Bang Bang Gang proposes this match, the next segment is the Acclaimed accepting the proposal.
Yeah.
They're just
my big knock on this, both sides of it. Both sides mentioned Jay White's match with Billy Gunn that they need to pretend never fucking happened. But Billy Gunn keeps harping on it now too. Like, no, that's pivot away from that thing.
He won.
He beat the shit out of Jay White. It was the most upsetting thing on AEW television in the last year.
So how do you think this match is ending?
I think that Caster's probably going to turn heel.
What?
I think that's what it's not great because it's been a lot of online shit, but he's been doing a lot of weird. He's a very online dude.
Yeah.
And lately, he's been posting a lot of like weird ass stuff. Like when Mercedes got hired, he did a thing with like out of nowhere with Sammy Guevara, saying I'm with Sammy right now. He's a great guy because like a couple of years ago, Sammy Guevara made a bad joke that he wanted to, R-word. And it was like it's been a bunch of stuff like that in a row. And while that's been happening, his on-screen character has also been more subdued, getting a little more like serious. He looks like he's irritated a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like Bowens is still very clearly into what they're doing. It doesn't seem like Caster is as much.
Right.
So I'm thinking maybe that's how that ends, that they're going to break up the Acclaimed altogether. I would rather they just jettison Billy Gunn, but obviously he's got a lot of power in the company because he just is allowed to basically squash one of my favorite guys for no reason.
Oh, I hate this. I hate this idea.
They Acclaimed they got no heat right now.
Look what they're doing.
Yeah.
So Jay White doesn't have any heat either. Look what he's doing.
But I don't want the Bang Bang Gang to break up. If you're going to break up one of those groups, I'd rather they break up the Acclaimed because they got nothing going for them right now. Do something different.
Well, we'll cover that in the predictions. I don't like any of this. This sucks. I like the Acclaimed.
I liked the Acclaimed quite a bit.
Yeah, but
right now it's like I have a distaste for Billy Gunn and
all six of them. It's been trash since they've been on.
I have no negative feelings about Anthony Bowens. I think he's still like doing.
No, he's a great worker, but
even character wise, I think he's still doing
the same thing,
the Acclaimed thing.
Yeah.
The other two are not doing the Acclaimed thing they were doing that made us like them.
Well, Max Caster has to be on TV to do the Acclaimed thing, and they get zero TV time.
They get a lot of that nonsense TV time, or they have in the last 3 months or 4 months, where they just come out and talk a little bit. It's not even like a promo really, because they're not cutting it on anything.
Right.
So they're on screen, but nothing's happening. But Caster has been getting more and more irritated looking while doing these things. So, and I think it'll tie into that internet stuff. I know you don't love the not on television story progression, which is understandable. But it does feel like that's what he was doing, was some internet story progression.
Yeah.
I'm happy that the titles are getting condensed down to one.
Totally agree.
And the match will probably be pretty good.
I just like the Acclaimed, and I don't want them to break up. That's all. That's all I'm getting at.
If I had my perfect world, they would just launch Billy Gunn and be a great tag team that everybody loves.
Yes. I'm good with that.
But right now, everybody does not love the Acclaimed. They're not getting the same reactions or anything.
They're not getting any love whatsoever.
Yeah.
Some love came from myself to Shane Taylor.
STP.
I can't.
I love Shane Taylor.
Yeah, I like Shane.
He should have won this match, though. You were right in your text. It made more sense story wise too after I thought about it.
Shane Taylor versus Orange Cassidy. Shane Taylor is so fucking good.
Yeah,
he's like the one guy I watch all.
Everything he throws looks like it's just hitting the other person as hard as he can.
Just
makes
looks,
a big crack noise.
I said it last time. He looks legit. He works legit. Yeah. I would be afraid of him if I saw him in public.
He's intimidating as hell. He does great. I love wrestlers that talk. Like I was talking about Ilya Dragunov in his match when he's like, I got you. Why did he gasm around the way? I still got you, man. I still got you. I love wrestlers that talk in their matches. Because you would do that. You'd talk some shit. At least a lot of people would. And Shane Taylor's incredible at that.
Yeah.
He will reference stuff from stories from a long time ago during his matches so he doesn't even know if people really are hearing him, but he's talking about stuff and we're like, oh shit, he's talking about the thing from that guy disrespected Lee Moriarty 6 weeks ago or whatever. It brings all that stuff into his matches. He's awesome.
Yeah.
I want him to get a real legit push, not just TV time, this is the first step, is getting him on TV a bunch.
Well, I think this is and I mentioned in the same text, I think it was Daniel Garcia and Shane Taylor.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of guys just eating a bunch of L's, but they're on TV.
You said Penta, which was
Did I say Penta?
He didn't eat the pin, but he lost.
He lost.
Yeah, but if you don't eat the pen.
He's on the team. He lost. But, like, Penta's suffering without Rey Fenix in that company. Because, like, he's kind of hitched to him, which sucks because, like, he's like always a fun he's always a fun singles match, but, like, you're never going to win.
But they see him, I think, as a singles guy, as primarily somebody they're borrowing from AAA.
But he's over like fucking crazy.
He's always super over. He's amazing. I'm saying that's how they see him. I'm not saying that's how I see him in his beautiful blue gear that I love so much.
Yeah, it is nice. He's like a selectable character in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, absolutely. When it's not the Lucha Brothers, when it's either one of them individually, I think the company sees them more as just like, put them out there. It'll be a great match. It'll be super over with the crowd because they're always super over with the crowd. But we're never going to really do anything with them individually. I think it's a mistake. I think Penta could be like a world champ.
Yes.
Level kind of dude. But I think like the evidence tells me that when they're a tag team, they see them that way. When they're individuals, for whatever reason, the company doesn't. I don't know why.
I don't think the faith is the highest in Rey Fenix after he concussed Moxley very recklessly.
Yeah. And he's hurt himself a bunch of times, too.
His arm's bent in the wrong direction.
Absolutely incredible. He does stuff I've never seen from any other Lucha guy or anything. But he also, he's hurt. Like,
we get him a little bit.
Hurt their best company man guy and also himself a bunch.
Right. But, yeah, it's nice to see him on TV. And, the good thing here is, like, you're seeing Shane Taylor at the floor, right? So he loses a lot, but I would rather him lose a lot than win for a little while and then lose a lot. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And like, I mentioned when you brought it up to me that, like, Shane Taylor shouldn't be losing as much, which I agree with, and he should have won this match specifically. Yeah. Because it would have made more sense for him to win this match. But I do think it is a good sign that he's been on TV every week for weeks now. Yeah.
It's also Orange Cassidy. He's the golden goose. They don't fucking beat him.
But he's fighting from underneath. He's got the story in this match was Orange Cassidy this didn't make too much sense because Orange Cassidy comes out after Trent turned on him, and they mentioned a few times, he's by himself because he's got no friends left. Well, I mean, he's got in his faction, like, those guys are hurt or turned against him.
Right.
Orange Cassidy's got, like, canonically more friends in AEW than anyone in the history of wrestling. He is partnered with every babyface that they have, had stories with every single babyface that they have. Mm-hmm. So, like, he's not out of friends. I get it. You got to tell the story. So, you, like, sure, I'll bite on that for now, but it doesn't make... Right. Just in the moment, I was like, Orange Cassidy doesn't have any friends left? I'm screwed.
They said something like, so for the first time since he's been in AEW, he doesn't have any friends. I'm like...
Except every babyface. Then, like,
I don't know about that.
Shibata was like best friends with him. Like, he's practically in that faction.
They did a very cool. So the match ends with an Orange Punch W for Orange Cassidy. Very cool thing after the match, which I've never seen, and like you're rewinding your brain, and you're like, why didn't more guys do this the last 40 years I've been alive? So STP, right? Shane Taylor Promotions. I like that he has a big flag. Like that's what he. Yeah.
Everything about the faction now, like since the addition of Anthony Ogogo, they do need to be winning now because they did the thing where you add the new guy, which can be your story too. Like, this is why we're winning now because we got this new guy. But I love everything about the faction. Yeah, like the flag, the way they carry themselves. Yeah, all of it.
I love it. So the Anthony Ogogo, who's the other guy in it? Not Lee Moriarty.
Lee Moriarty. Tiger Style.
He's
you got your kung fu guy, you got your boxer, and your badass.
Lee Moriarty's Mr. Julia Hart, right?
Yes.
Bastard. I mean, bastard in a good way. Love you. And they attack.
You deserve it.
Yeah. They attack Orange Cassidy after the match, and we've been told a couple times Orange Cassidy just doesn't have any friends anymore. So it's just going to be
Turned out he had a couple, but they happened to be the agents for AEW.
Yeah, and so Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels go to make the save, but then Trent appears and hits them both with a chair to prevent the help, and then he just kind of motions to Shane Taylor, and he's like, go ahead, have at it. Jesus Christ, this was smart.
Trent is so much more interesting as a heel than he was.
It's a genius idea to attack anybody helping.
Yeah,
that's
just
doing a
stop the help. You don't have to get yourself involved. Don't get your hands dirty.
I thought this was so genius.
It was great.
And I'm like, why have I not seen this before? Because this makes me like, I like Trent a lot now. Yeah. Like you just said, he's super interesting.
I said going in, I'm like, Trent's going to be good, I think, when he's a heel.
Yeah.
Said it a few times, but like,
I just never thought it would
feeling.
Never thought it would happen.
I think he's got the vibe, the good heel vibes.
Also, too, Chuck Taylor hinted that. Oh, was it this show or last show? No, that was over the weekend.
Chuck is hurt. That's why he wasn't there.
No, he was at one of the weekend shows, Rampage or Dynamite, where he came in from behind for Orange Cassidy, and he made it appear like he was going to attack Orange Cassidy and align with Trent, and he walked past Orange Cassidy to prevent Trent. You're like, yeah, all right. All right. Not everything's got to be Shakespeare.
I don't know if I would like Chucky T as a heel anyway. Trent, I like Trent because he's got a good heel vibe.
Let him be a lone wolf for a while.
Yeah,
That's fine. Also, if Chuck Taylor's injured, why turn him?
It's kind of a mystery why Trent has done what he's done. We've had people pointedly asking him on screen, "Why would you do this? Your mom was there." What? And he's just the closest we got was when he whispered to. Was it Renee or was it, I think Lexi Nair? He whispered to Lexi and she was like, oh shit, but we don't know what he said. That's cool. It's a mystery. I'm interested in knowing why he turned like he did.
Yeah. We'll find out, for sure. Up next, we get a video package. It's Kyle O'Reilly versus Roderick Strong for the international title. And this was set up apparently at Battle of the Belts.
Yeah.
This should crush.
I mean, they've been leaning towards it. I would rather they have done the turn on Kyle O'Reilly in a more direct way. Although I think they did do it on Dynamite last week. It was after you turned it off because of the not great stuff.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this match.
Yeah.
And I also think that Kyle O'Reilly has a chance of winning because I think they're pivoting off of the Kingdom.
I hope so.
They would very much felt like some floated bullshit by the company.
Yeah.
Sean Ross Sapp, these guys keep getting worked too, so I think that might be what this is. Out of nowhere, just said, "Oh, by the way, Adam Cole is not close to coming back." One, who asked that? And two, this feels pretty out of left field. I think the reason that got floated is I don't think he really is any more hurt than anybody thought. I think it's just a way for them to pull the plug on a failing thing.
Well, also too, didn't Tony Khan have an investor call today or something like that? Because he was talking about Punk. So it was very candid. Wouldn't you mention in that call, hey, Adam Cole's really hurt?
Yeah, probably.
So
everything about it felt.
But I'm just backing up your point. You would hear it from the horse's mouth if that was actually the case. Your supposed top heel faction that you were building for months and months at a time. Off of the back of your best feud of last year, and you're not going to say fucking shit when you're on an investor call?
The whole thing just went south as soon as he got hurt.
Yeah.
They should have just bailed on it.
Yeah. Which is a bummer.
But whatever. I like most of the parts individually.
We got a nice Texas death match out of it.
Yeah, and we'll get, I'm fine with Roddy staying with those guys. Yeah. They can be a fine little faction on their own, mid-card faction.
Just don't let Wardlow do anything else ever again. He's done.
I done. Give him an opportunity elsewhere.
Yeah. Claudio Castagnoli fought William Ospreay. Go ahead.
Goddamn unbelievable match. So Will Ospreay has had the mirror image match with Takeshita, the stronger version of himself. He's had the younger version of himself, but more high flyy style match with his buddy. And his name is escaping me right now, from the Australian kid. I love him.
Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah. Kyle Fletcher. With Kyle Fletcher, he's had a total Japanese strong style match with Shibata.
Yeah.
Now he's had the best counter wrestling match I've seen since Kyle O'Reilly was healthy last time. With Claudio Castagnoli. This match had so many incredible counters, and then the impactful moves that happened right after the counters. Claudio's just a great base for anybody that can do flippy stuff, and Ospreay's just the best at all of that. But he's also the best at the hard hitting stuff too. So what we got was things like Will Ospreay going for the hidden blade, not connecting, just so Claudio could hit the meanest looking uppercut that dude's thrown in his career, I think, because Ospreay is just a magic person. Makes everything look like it's a kung fu movie, a real fight kung fu movie. His fucking shit move, shit in quotes, his nothing move is the bicycle kick where he does a complete flip that I don't know how a human being can even do it. It's like a throwaway he does in every match.
Right.
So like it's counter, hard hitting as hell. Awesome match. The best of the bunch though, by far. I was going in, I was like, well, he's going to do something cool with the swing. He's going to do something cool with the swing. Claudio gets him in the swing as soon as he starts to turn. Ospreay, just with the most insane core strength of all time, pulls himself up into getting Claudio into a DDT position and DDTs the shit out of him from that position. Then hits the
it's a twisting sky press from there.
The sky. Is it twisting sky press? I think they call it the sky twister press.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
With Ospreay.
I wrote it like it would be in the phone book.
And then, yeah, that makes sense. It does hit the hidden blade, a brutal looking hidden blade, to get the win. This was just like, it was just, if you like counter wrestling, do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
This was unbelievable.
It was, yeah. Yep. I wrote this guy can even make Claudio look great because I'm bored to death with Claudio. Claudio also does a dog shit sharpshooter. I'm just going to shit on Claudio.
I think it's been like 2 good sharpshooters in wrestling history, and most of the other ones are not great.
It's Brett and Owen. Owens was even not that great. He did it on the wrong.
Owens was pretty good.
His legs were too wide. Brett.
I was thinking Sting and Brett, but
yes.
but,
yes.
But everybody else looks like they're trying to do something that's not really their move.
No. I mean, this match was great.
Why don't people do the Texas Cloverleaf? I love that move. Nobody uses it.
Who used to deal? That was Dean Malenko.
It was Malenko.
Sheamus did it for a while.
Yeah, but like you see everybody does sharpshooters. It's a very similar move that I think is easier to make look good.
Yeah.
Nobody does it.
You can throw that on really fast.
Yeah.
And like pick the guy up off the
Part
ground.
of the reason why it's easier to make look good.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to do the move of the guys, 2 of the greatest wrestlers of all time that just never looks as great. Anyway,
I can't agree more.
Like this match was.
Callis had a couple good canonical notes here where they're challenging him about like, oh, you got a bunch of guys in your faction like that, and you're picking Ospreay to be, and he goes, he's the first among equals, which I like. So like,
he had several great lines.
He's trying to say like all the guys are on the same playing level, but right now he's just got his focus on Ospreay. I love that this was a faction pairing. So like he going off of the Blackpool Combat Club against the Don Callis family, you had a very angry member of Blackpool Combat Club because he was a part of a beatdown over the weekend prior to Dynamite. And then you had he's like the, what's her face? The Cinderella of the house. Like he's the good one that lives with like the bad ones, right? So you got Will Ospreay, who wants really no part of any of the nonsense because even after the match, when there is a beatdown by the faction,
Callis family comes in. Callis says, "I have nothing to do with this," and Shivani's like, "Yes, you did. God damn it!"
Hobbs, Takeshita, and Fletcher run into attack Claudio, and Will Ospreay does not participate.
Yeah, he throws his hands up and like, guys, I don't want this. Yeah. I want Danielson at his best too. He said that several times over the last few weeks. I mean, this at the pay-per-view, right? This ends. He breaks from the Callis. They already have Kyle Fletcher.
What else are they going to do with
young Ospreay? Yeah. Essentially, not quite Ospreay, but
no, they've done. I think they've ran the course on this.
You know who would fit the mold of the Don Callis family?
Who's that?
Claudio Castagnoli. Big, muscled, strong, super athletic for his size, like surprisingly athletic.
And he could get a mouthpiece because he can't talk for shit.
Exactly. Like Ospreay doesn't need a mouthpiece. Ooh, Claudio does. I want them to break up the Black Comic Club.
Oh, you're right. So, don't swap.
Just break them up. Danielson. Moxley is much better as a lone wolf. His whole character screams lone wolf.
What are they going to do with all those Death Jitsu hoodies they ordered? They got 7,000 Death Jitsu
when
hoodies.
they first started, I thought their gear, their merch was pretty cool.
It was dope.
Not right now though.
No, well, I mean, the Blackpool is kind of a wink at a guy that's no longer with the company.
There, so we don't need to do it anymore. No. Especially when one of your guys is incredible on his own because he's one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Yeah.
The other one is incredible on his own because he specifically is good at playing the lone wolf character.
Yeah.
Like in a company of factions, he's always been until the Blackpool Combat Club was the lone wolf.
Yeah.
And he was awesome at it. And we saw it like at the beginning of the pay-per-view when he wasn't there with them doing his old babyface Moxley stuff. He's better. It's more interesting as that.
And he comes out after this match and he cleans house and then he focuses on Hobbs while he's cleaning house. Yeah. So just again, he said he's going to wrestle him next week. He beats the shit out of him this week. It's going to be a bruiser. So
Hobbs hasn't had a miss in a long time between the ropes.
No.
He's been killing it this year.
No, he's another guy that they can do whatever the fuck they want, and he's never going to lose any steam. And then we had the... Oh, wait, we didn't do this for the WWE one, what the final match on the show was.
Well, I was saving it because this wasn't... Whatever you close the show with, that is what I consider to be...
Oh, but
the main event of the evening.
It is an in-ring face-to-face. Swerve calls out Samoa Joe.
Go home for the pay-per-view coming up this week.
That's right. Swerve recounts what happened last week. He thinks Joe is being afraid for a moment. It's everything he needed to see, and it proves that he's scared, which prompts Samoa Joe to come out surrounded by security, which is odd. Because they knew it was happening, they said it backstage. They got the music queued up, they left a lot of time at the end of the show for this to happen. So
it was to do a spot. I mean, it was the coolest spot I've ever seen. But,
all the things I wrote there. I go, why? His music played. Swerve said he was going to do it. It's booked the show. And then when all of the security guys are close enough to the ring, Swerve does a thing that we've all tried to do into a pool onto floats, but onto people's heads.
And he lands it absolutely perfectly somehow because he's like a magic cartoon or something.
He swerve stomps the security from the top rope all the way to the outside.
Like 12 guys. He jumps from the top rope and lands swerve stomps, but more just lands on them. They all collapse. Yeah. It looks great. And then he just then lands on his feet on the floor nothing happened, just like a stroll. He's the smoothest motherfucker I've ever seen.
It was gnarly looking because his legs went all
there were so many ways that could have gone. That I can't believe they jeopardized their main event
I mean,
that a few days before the pay-per-view.
They're jeopardizing every other fucking match on this pay-per-view, so why not?
But it was a spot that nobody's ever done before.
Risky.
A super risky spot that nobody's ever done before. Yeah. Swerve just. Honestly, I think it was a good call in the end because that was a reminder. Oh, yeah, I forgot. That's why, because Swerve is the most athletic dude ever.
Yeah.
That's why he's awesome. So it definitely, it did what it was supposed to do. Yeah. It was just very risky.
Also, too, off the heels of the slight, subtle character work they're doing all show, if someone's telling you you're a choke artist and you're having self-doubt, you're going to overcompensate. So
Absolutely.
This is just
it fits.
Yeah, it fits what he's doing. And also too, if you want to shove it in Joe's face a little, I'm not afraid of you at all because I saw everything I needed to see from you last week. I'm in control here. Plus I'm overcompensating. It fits a couple categories here.
My only gripe, and I mean a gripe, it's just a request I would have made is I would
surfboard.
I would have babyface Swerve up a little bit more at this point now.
They tried,
after they did
they with the contract signing that they thought that was their
meal
ticket.
That was great, and it built heat for the pay-per-view. I just would have done more specific good guy stuff with him. And it's not really a knock on Swerve.
Yeah.
I think there are too many tweeners in AEW.
Yeah.
I want to get rid of them basically altogether. Yeah. I don't like tweeners.
No.
Never really have.
No.
That's why I like Moxley much better when he's a full-on babyface.
Yeah.
The only guy really he's pulling a trick. He's not really being a tweener. The only guy that can do it is Danielson. He doesn't really change at all. No. He's always being a heel. There are just times when he's not doing real dastardly shit, so people love him then.
Right.
But he's not a tweener.
Right.
But he kind of is, and he's the only guy that can do it.
Yeah.
I don't like tweeners otherwise. I don't ever feel quite as much for the match if there's not a good guy, bad guy. Yeah. It's old, it's cool, wrong. Whatever. It's something I want. And there is a good guy, bad guy here. I just would have made Swerve a little bit more in the Hangman direction, good guy. But still, this match is going to rule, and I feel like they heated it up like crazy the last couple of weeks.
Right.
I'm very excited for this pay-per-view.
So after the dive we're just talking about, they fight for a little bit. Joe goes to attack Prince Nana. Swerve.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the awesome kick that he
Swerve super kicks Joe, and then he house calls him. He goes up for a swerve stomp, but Joe intervenes, and he throws him into the Muscle Buster, which is what ends the show. So
Joe looked very intimidating when he was about to murder Nana, too.
Yeah.
I was scared for Nana.
Absolutely. So great. I mean, 90% of the show was awesome.
Yeah, great way to close it. Like I said, do this show this level. This exact level 30 weeks in a row, and you'll be pull in the number of fans that you were getting, 2021-esque.
Right. Right.
Maybe not like the Punk, but right before Punk, there were a lot of people coming to those shows.
Yeah.
You probably get that level of people,
Yeah.
number of people back again.
We have to do predictions for Dynasty.
So we'll
just quickly go
We'll
through
do quick ones for Dynasty.
I'm gonna have to go off your.
I think we're gonna for the big fours for both AEW and WWE. We'll give you guys a little bit more in depth like preview, like a full preview show. But for the non big fours, I think we could just, for the purposes of our what was I calling it? Good job, buddy. Title, the championship belts for Dave and I. For the purposes of that, we're always going to do our picks. So, like for a show like this, like Dynasty, as the Brits say, we'll just do our picks at the end of our Dynamite show, which we will do for you right now.
Right now, the main event of the evening.
You want to start with the main events?
Yeah. No, that's not fun. Let's go down it. Let's start with the prelims.
So this might be just the main card. Is the Cope, Kingston, Briscoe? That's a main card, right?
Yep.
So I just have the main card here.
That's fine.
I don't want to bet on the prelims anyway.
AEW.
So we got Edge, Kingston, Briscoe. I love all those guys versus the House of Black. Who you got, Dave?
Edge. I think the Edge team is going to win.
I as well think that. Just mostly because Mark Briscoe's getting kind of a rub right now. He's got just won the Ring of Honor title. I think they want to keep that going.
Yeah.
I kind of think that within 6 months, Brody King's going to be the only member of the House Black that's still in AEW.
I think it's going to be a bad night for the House of Black.
I'm okay with that because I love Brody King. He's the one I want to hang on to. The other two are only on Collision ever anyway.
Right.
But we both got
if you want
Edger and my boy.
If you want to do the
Briscoe.
pre-show, it's the trios unification.
You know what? Yeah, let's do that. That's a more interesting.
That's a big
pre-show one. Than who you got.
I think it makes more sense to put it on the Bullet Club.
The Bing Bing Ging.
Yeah,
I got the Bing Bing Ging.
All right.
It's more of a hopeful because the only thing I can come away from that, like the Billy Gunn debacle from a few weeks ago, is that they're doing that to lead in to make you believe that they could lose this match,
right? And
they're going to come out on top because they're just the better team.
Yeah.
But so okay. So we both got the same for the first two.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, I did have this on here. So are you sure that's on the prelims?
I'm just looking at. It just says 0 hour pre-show.
I
Trio.
think that's on the card. I could be wrong.
Whatever. It don't matter.
We both got whatever. We picked the same thing anyway.
Yeah.
The AEW International Championship match: Roddy Strong and Kyle O'Reilly.
I think. I don't know.
I don't know who to take either. I can go first actually on this one if you want because you've gone first on the last two. I think Roddy Strong is going to win still.
Yeah. But
now I think there's a chance that Kyle O'Reilly's could win, which up until this week I didn't think was possible.
Right.
So I'm going to take Kyle O'Reilly, even though I think he's probably the underdog still.
I'm
pulling for
Roderick Strong just to
break it up and
so we're not all picking the same shit.
But I'll be very happy if KOR gets the belt put on him here because his first match back from being out after 2 years, he was immediately fantastic.
It'll just be nice to have a title come back to the south side of Chicago.
Well, parade day, baby, next year. AEW Continental Championship match: Kazuchika Okada versus Pac.
Yes,
Okada. Yeah,
I will bet my lungs on Okada.
Gonna cut my dick off and eat it myself. Kind of $5 million guarantee. $5 million guarantee. Okada's winning.
You're in a tight spot.
Shout out to this. AEW World Tag Team Championship ladder match. The Young Bucks versus FTR.
Yeah, the Bucks are winning.
Yeah, they are.
They have to win.
Are we just going to have one match that we predict?
I mean, it's a pretty predictable card. But
yeah, it is, but they've done a lot of predictable cards that kicked ass in the past.
So. Oh, I'm not denying that it's going to be good. It's just like when you book things correctly. Like, WrestleMania was very predictable too, but we guessed so fucking wrong.
I'm not sure about this one. The AEW TBS Championship match, Julia Hart versus my girl Willow Nightingale.
Willow Nightingale's winning.
I think so too.
What do you do afterwards if Julia Hart wins? Where the fuck's Sky Blue, by the way?
I know.
Put her on TV more.
She has been up until the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. I guess it wouldn't have made sense to have her out there with doing the mixed tag. I like that mixed tag match quite a bit.
Yeah. I'm picking.
I want to go different, but we're just gonna have one match that decides.
Which is fine.
I'm also taking Willow.
Yeah.
The very recently heated up AEW Women's World Championship match, Timeless Toni Storm versus Thunder Rosa.
I think Toni Storm's retaining.
She's going to retain.
Yeah.
It's going to be a better match than I thought it was going to be.
Right.
A couple weeks ago, she's winning.
Absolutely.
There's too many other big names, and then also she has her own internal story that they're telling with Mariah May. It's going to be one of those that take it off her. It's not going to be Rosa. No. Rosa's great this week.
Right.
Not going to be Rosa.
No.
All right, and we have. Where did I? Oh, they got. Sorry, the sheet I'm reading off of has the Ospreay Danielson match in a weird place.
Yeah, it's the second match on the show.
Ospreay and Danielson.
I think Danielson's winning.
I do too. Damn it, Dave! I think it's the right move to have Danielson win.
Yeah,
whatever. It's going to be
awesome.
Ospreay's
undefeated in the company so far,
but I think Danielson's going to win, and it's going to somehow lead to the breakup. Not the breakup, but the leaving of Will Ospreay from the faction that he's in.
I think the faction is going to force Ospreay to leave because they're going to fuck him up and result in the end of the match.
Like one of those in a way.
Yeah.
Like, I think it'll be after. I think if Danielson gets the win, which you don't lose any heat losing to Bryan Danielson.
Right.
The Callis family very much has a if you show any weakness, there's a chance that Don's going to be like, all right, fuck him, he's out.
Yeah,
let's beat him up.
But he's been calling him the Golden Goose and shit like that. So
same shit he was doing with a callback to exactly what he was doing with Kenny Omega before he turned on him.
Right.
So it would make
maybe we'll see the screwdriver.
Sense. I want this match to have a clean finish because it's these two, and it is a true dream match. We don't get a ton of them. And I'm very excited for this one.
It'll be a good one.
Do you think it'll be the second to last match?
That's what they do. The last three matches are going to be the ladder match, this match, and the world title.
I think so too. I'm going into every one of these. I'm like, oh man, do you really want that much heat?
The crowd never gets
and
tired.
They don't get tired. No. So I should stop asking. Samosif Joseph versus this. Did you catch the swerve? What he called Joe? It was off mic, but he yelled it loud enough that everybody heard it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I didn't write it down.
BBL Joey.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
So
no.
there's a current hip hop Twitter beef going on between Rick Ross and Drake. And Rick Ross has taken to calling Drake BBL Drizzy because he says that BBL is Brazilian butt lift.
Yes.
And he says that Drake has had lip implants and a bunch of plastic surgery to make himself look younger.
Right.
So he just refers to him as BBL Drizzy. So just because that's happening right now, Swerve, I love when Swerve incorporates his insider hip hop stuff that most people don't get. I didn't even get this one until I looked it up. I mean, I knew about the beef for some reason, but I didn't know about the actual terminology. But calling him BBL Joey was just a reference to that.
Sure.
Which makes me giggle. I love when Swerve does that stuff.
Yeah.
Who you got?
I don't know.
Up until this week, I would have been 100% that it's Swerve. I think they did a nice job sowing doubts.
I think Joe's winning.
I'm still gonna take Swerve.
That's fine.
I think they I know it's fine.
Yeah,
that's
fine.
God damn it! It actually helps us if we take some different shit. I think there's a chance Joseph wins, but I still think that I'm gonna go with the favorite here, the general consensus favorite.
Yeah.
And it really it's really interesting what direction they were going to go either way off the end of this too. But yeah, I'll take Swerve.
That's tight. I just checked the Vegas odds.
How tight?
Swerve's -200.
Okay.
Joe's 150. Plus 150.
Damn, that is pretty
tight. It's really tight.
I bet you it wasn't that tight before Dynamite.
Also, Will Ospreay is negative 1,000.
Really?
Yeah. He's a 1 in 10.
So is that
Danielson's a 5 to 1.
We're really? That's such a long shot.
Yeah. This is kind of fun. We can look at like what Vegas has as well.
We
also missed the Hook in Jericho.
Oh, yeah. Who is winning that, by the way?
Jericho's winning.
I think so, too.
He has to. He's got to stay.
I think he's getting the that's going to be his thing. He's getting the FTW title. He's going to put it something other, like a
he's warming up.
GFY, to make it a GFY title or a Y2J title or something like that.
Yeah, he needs to. He just got to stay hot.
Yeah. And Hook just beat him.
Right.
And they really haven't beat. They beat Hook only like once in a singles match.
Well, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Chris fucking.
It's going to be Billy
Jarrett.
Gunn.
Oh, he's not going to beat him. He's going to beat him half to death.
He's going
Billy Gunn.
He's going to no-sell a coffin drop and then beat the shit out of former IW. That's the other one. That's the other Gaijin that's been IWGP World Heavyweight Champion.
Billy Gunn.
Fuck no. They would fucking put him on a pig roast if they gave him that belt in Japan. Switchblade was the holder of that incredibly prestigious title before he got to get his ass kicked by old ass man.
I was actually in attendance when he defended that title. I should know. I went to Forbidden Door.
Oh shit! Yeah. Cool.
I saw Adam Cole
bye
go out for a very long time after that.
Jay White saved his life that day.
It was a very abrupt ending to the match. So I saw the Orange Cassidy Ospreay match in person.
Yeah. I remember that you saw that now.
Yeah, we saw Chris Jericho debut.
Yeah, we did.
I'm bringing you back.
We did.
You look sad now. You're happy.
I mean, I saw MJF and Punk.
Yeah.
Live, so.
No, but I'm trying to. We're not scoreboarding. I'm trying to.
Oh no, yeah. I wasn't either. I'm sorry. It probably came off that way. No, I was saying I don't need to be uplifted. Because I have that. Too.
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
Totally.
I have good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have very much liked to have seen the Billy Goat and Orange Cassidy.
It was poorly lit.
Two of my top 5 wrestlers on earth.
Everybody had masks on. It was during COVID.
I will say Ospreay is better since joining AEW though, because he gets to cut promos and be the Billy Goat. Yeah. Got to work it in a word or two every show.
Void of impressions this episode.
I don't know. I did a lot. I did a whole bunch of Matthew Jackson, my friend.
We've been talking about wrestling for a long time. I can't remember.
Matthew Jackson up and down. It was a new impression.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. If you have not already, go check out the WWE half of our podcast, which will drop at the same time as this one. Hopefully, you will join us again next week. And enjoy AEW Dynasty, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.